that program for about 18 years now, and we see the impact that it is having. If you go to Burja Field on a Saturday right now, you see hundreds of young children playing football, both boys and girls. And I want to thank Stanley Reno and Tyrone T-Bones Young for their dedication and support over the last 18 years, and all the coordinators and coaches, all the Croils and Sundance and all these people who give their time and effort day in and day out to come to be able to serve our children. And if you go out there as well, you will see a lot of parents in the stands supporting their children, and I commend them for that. I want to call on more parents to come out and support your child or children. Upgrading and maintaining sporting facilities in all districts, developing a new sports policy and strategy, updating the Sports Act, establishing a National Advisory Council that includes all federations, and identifying creative ways to finance youth and sports initiatives in a sustainable way. A couple weeks ago, when at the launch of the Mundialito, I stated that a young man by the name of Jervan Ramos, who went through the same Mundialito program and was fortunate to get a scholarship, completed school and earned himself a master's degree. And I hope he comes back and serve just like the Honorable Daly. I've been going through that same process with my own son, and he has gotten a scholarship which he has committed to a school outside Chicago to go and play volleyball. So I know firsthand the importance of getting sports right, to be able to provide an education for young people, for better health care, because if we have a healthier nation, we have a more productive nation. For national pride, when you see this flag, you should beam with pride. And then we have to be able to have a portion of our athletes be able to earn a decent living from sports. Mr. Speaker, we have established a new board of directors for the National Sports Council with competent and passionate people who are committed to driving the sporting renaissance forward. We're also implementing critical reforms in sports governance, introducing the proper financial oversight, performance reporting, and streamlined coordination across federations. Mr. Speaker, we're not just building better athletes, we're building a better Belize through sports. Mr. Speaker, Belizeans living abroad are an important part of our national development agenda. They send money back to Belize, make in-kind contributions, share knowledge, promote our cultures, and invest in our country. According to the World Bank, remittances to developing countries exceeded $650 billion in 2023. In Belize, these funds provide critical support to thousands of households. Remittances were about $188 million in 2019, and when we got in, we saw a sharp increase in that. Estimates are that remittances will reach over $300 million by the end of this year, and that is only through the official sources. Money go in a barrel, money go in a suitcase, money go all kind of way, clothes go, all kind of thing go. So if you add tourism, and I like to say this every budget report, because I just have to remind the country, if you add tourism with about 1.5 billion towards the economy, and you add remittances, that would make it about 1.8 billion, almost 25% of GDP. In 2025, our ministry will continue to strengthen diaspora engagement by continuing to improve the diaspora returnee incentive program. That's where people who live abroad can come home and get their household and personal effects duty exempted. Hosting virtual diaspora dialogues, investment forums, and registration and communication platforms. Promoting Belize through events in diaspora hubs, strengthen partnerships with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Belize's overseas missions, and will continue to identify businesses and philanthropic partners. Over the last 3 or 4 years, we've been able to raise about $8 million from the diaspora for medical equipment, school equipment, clothes, food, and a lot of other stuff. So the diaspora unit is working hard, and what many in the diaspora have said is that now this administration has given them the level of respect they deserve and opened up the level of communication between government and the people living in the diaspora. Mr. Speaker, our Ministry, Tourism, Youth, Sports and Diaspora Relations, and our statutory boards, the Belize Tourism Board, the Board of Management Agency, and the National Sports Council will continue to do our part in transforming our nation. Mr. Speaker, for some time now, I've been following the rise of one of Africa's, in my opinion, most brilliant and nationalistic leaders, Ibrahim Traore. For those who don't know, President Traore is 37 years old, and for the last 3 years he has led the African nation of Burkina Faso. From what I've read, the president is a true change agent. He's tearing down the status quo and the way some in the West view Africa and the African people. In just 3 years, some of his accomplishments include building the largest hospital in West Africa, building a new airport, paying off all local debt, establishing a tomato processing plant, prioritizing agriculture by distributing 400 tractors, 240 tillers, 710 motor pumps, 714 motorcycles to boost production. These and other programs are transforming that nation. He's also taking away the country's mineral wealth from the capitalists and the so-called colonial masters who believe that they're doing Burkina Faso and Africa a favor by exploiting that region's wealth. Mr. Speaker, when you listen to all these accomplishments, they sound like a Belize under Honorable John Briceño. New airport, paying off debt, building hospitals, working on renewable energy, nationalizing assets, and the list goes on. Mr. Speaker, it would be remiss of me not to truly thank the people who have helped me to get into this position and in this honorable house. My Pickstock Change Agent committee have worked hard day in and day out to ensure that we provide the necessary support for all or as many people in the Pickstock division. I'd like to also thank the voters and residents of Pickstock who have become my friends and many who are like family to me now. We have issued close to 80 homes over the last few years, and I'm proud to say that in the coming weeks we will cut ribbon on an apartment complex in the Rio area of the Mayflower area in Belize City. So 6 families will get 2-bedroom apartments in that facility, and we are hoping to do a couple more like that. We've also issued over 600 lots with the support of the Deputy Prime Minister, and we hope to do more this term. We have helped many in starting their small businesses, building shops, and equipping them with the necessary resources for them to earn a decent living for themselves and their family. We have assisted many young people and children to go to school, helping with scholarships through the Ministry of Education and through our own resources and the Community Development Fund. We will continue to work on behalf and for the people of Pigstock, Mr. Speaker. In closing, Mr. Speaker, gotta go and leave well now. I want to close by saying that Belize is at a pivotal point in its development. As a nation, God has blessed us with wealth untold, the longest living barrier reef in the world. 3 of the 4 atolls in the Caribbean, including the Great Blue Hole, jungles and forests teeming with wildlife, the magnificent Maya temples and heritage, the longest cave system in Central America, a mix of cultures, the Creole, Mestizo, Garifuna, Maya, East Indian, Mennonites, and many more, all living in harmony. However, I maintain that we can do better as a nation. Often we hear and see revolutions that use guns and bombs, meaning bloodshed. But for Belize to catapult forward, we have to have a revolution of the mind, Mr. Speaker. Individually and as a nation, we have to pursue a path of inner awakening. We must have a true love and respect for our nation. Mr. Speaker, I believe in the good of our Belizean people, and I believe truly that we're living in a good country. So, Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the good people of Pigstock, I support this budget for the fiscal year 2025-2026. I thank you.
Thank you, Member. The meeting will now be suspended for 2 minutes for the podium to be removed. Resume the meeting. I recognize the member from Corozal Bay.
Mr. Speaker, esteemed colleagues and people of Belize, I rise in support of the budget from Promise to Purpose 2025 to 2026. Permit me first to acknowledge the great people of Corozal Bay, from South End to White Cocal, from Joseito Layout and Santa Rita to Corozal Central, and everywhere in between, by Bacachoro, in Bacadia, those in Skelly and in Hall's Layout, in Venezuelan site and in Port Saul, in Ermelinda and down College Road. I want to again express my gratitude for their unwavering confidence and support. And I want to thank the hardest working executive in this country, bar none. That's that. The biggest and most active party arms anywhere in Belize, and the most committed campaigners who ever walked Corozal Bay. The truth, nothing but the truth. I want to thank my parents and send my deepest respects to my father, who was once a member of this esteemed house, and to my mother, who by her example encourages me every day to be steadfast, resilient, and hardworking. To my husband and children, I thank you for your support and encouragement and understanding, without which I could not serve. Mr. Speaker, permit me to speak briefly on Corozal Bay constituency matters. Corozal Bay suffered severe neglect during the past successive UDP administrations. The sporting facilities had not been touched for many years. And it was only through a collaboration between private citizen fundraising and funds designated for sports through BWSL that we were able to accomplish much needed maintenance and refurbishment of the Andres Campos Civic Center last year. While every other district boasts of new modern sporting facilities and some boast several, Corozal still cannot. However, the Minister of Youth and Sports, member for Pickstock, Honorable Anthony Mulder, has already engaged in a tour of the sporting areas and, encouraged by the sporting enthusiasts of Corozal, has agreed to start on the plans for refurbishment and redesign of these areas. Corozal Bay is indeed grateful for your support, sir. Corozal Bay is primarily flatland, and drainage is a main issue. Since late last year, the Ministry of Infrastructure Development and Housing has been engaged in Corozal Bay, working towards alleviating the most pressing issues in those areas that are most flood prone. I want to thank the Honorable Julius Espat for always heeding the call and coming to the rescue. Corozal Bay is a coastal town and prone to erosion like most other such coastal areas. Due to climate change, increased intensity of storms, we are experiencing erosion that has caused sinkholes on most of First Avenue or that road along the seaside. There are 3 primary schools along First Avenue. One school has 2 buildings which are already severely compromised. The seawall along the edge of the beach has already crumbled, leaving Corozal town vulnerable to tides and further erosion. I hereby petition on behalf of my constituency for the technical and financial support to address and find possible solutions to this environmental crisis, and to ensure climate resilience and adaptability measures are put in place for the safety of the Corozal Bay and Corozal town residents. Another key area of concern for residents of Corozal Bay is land for first-time owners. But I want to thank the Honorable Cordell Hyde for his efforts on behalf of the good people of Corozal Bay and his assurances that he will ensure that Corozal Bay constituents also have opportunities for first land ownership. Thank you, DPM. Finally, I want to thank the Prime Minister, the Honorable John Briceño, for extending community development funds to the residents of Corozal Bay, as he does for every other constituency already. These have been making a difference during the end of school year, and this has been helping families in need for burial assistance, extraordinary medical expenses, and for the support and revival and diversification of sporting disciplines, cultural and social events. Thank you, PM. And I want to make special mention of the efforts of the Corozal Sailing Club, the Cerro Suns, and the Corozal Wolves, and all the other sporting clubs that proudly represent Corozal. With your permission, Mr. Speaker, I continue to present the 2025-2026 budget for the Ministry of Human Development Family Support, and Gender Affairs. A ministry entrusted with the responsibility of safeguarding the rights of our nation's most at-risk populations while empowering families, communities, and individuals across Belize. This budget reflects our unwavering commitment to strengthening families, advancing gender equality, and fostering inclusive development for all. In these challenging times, our mission is clear: to create a society where every individual, regardless of gender, regardless of age or circumstance, can thrive. Guided by the principles of equity, of compassion, and sustainability, this budget prioritizes interventions that uplift the most vulnerable while investing in long-term resilience. Mr. Speaker, our ministry remains committed to our vision of advancing social inclusion, equality, and resilience. The proposed budget of $25.271 million reflects our unwavering commitment to social inclusion, family strengthening, and rights-based approaches to human development. This is our firm commitment under Plan Belize 2.0. Mr. Speaker, before I go into this year's budget, I would like to report to this Honorable House and to the people of Belize on the achievements made in the last budget cycle. In the 2024-2025 period, and here I would like to acknowledge the leadership of Minister Dolores Valderramos Garcia and to recognize the singular importance of the advocacy of the Special Envoy for Families and Children, Her Excellency Mrs. Rosanna Briceño. The government of Belize passed key legislation to strengthen our social protection framework. The ministry expanded child protection services, increased protection for victims of gender-based violence, addressed human trafficking, implemented women's economic empowerment programs, and expanded services for families living in poverty, homeless persons, older persons, and persons with disabilities. During yesterday's rebuttal of the budget presentation, the leader of the opposition alleged, in her opinion, failing social protection policies. UNICEF defines social protection as the range of policies and programs needed to reduce the lifelong consequences of poverty and exclusion. Such programs are found in the Ministry of Human Development, Families Support, and Gender Affairs, sure, in the form of boost and other forms of income support and food security, but they are not exclusive just to our ministry. This government knows that social protection works best when it is a cohesive plan implemented across different ministries, ensuring access to essential services such as healthcare and education, programs designed to increase employment opportunities, and even programs that increase climate resilience, adaptability, and crisis management. Social protection programs are more than just social insurance, income support, or child protection. As a matter of fact, this budget for fiscal year 2025-2026 has social protection programs embedded across almost all of its ministries. We implemented a series of social support and empowerment programs aimed primarily at reducing poverty and building strong family support systems. Regarding social support, in the last financial year, Boost served 4,099 beneficiaries from 1,692 different households across the country. We increased our reach to persons with disabilities by 451% and graduated 440 households whose socio-economic status had improved. Additionally, amongst Boost beneficiaries, there were 296 students who graduated from secondary schools and 79 who transitioned from primary to secondary school. This demonstrates the program's positive role in education advancement. Through our other public assistance programs, we supported 1,366 individuals facing immediate personal crisis. This included financial assistance for food, for education, for medical needs, and burial support. Additionally, we provided grocery bags to an estimated 8,000 households across the country last year. Furthermore, Mr. Speaker, we provided $1.7 million in grants to organizations that deliver services directly aligned with our mandate for child protection, elder care, and poverty reduction. In the 2024-2025 period, the Ministry of Human Development, Family Support, and Gender Affairs stood strong in its commitment to child protection and juvenile justice. There are times we recognize when, despite our very best efforts at family reunification, children who experience abuse, neglect, or exploitation need alternative home placements. In the last year, the demand for residential care for children increased dramatically. Since 2021, post-COVID, we have taken on an average of 1,200 new child protection cases each year. On average, then, that means that each social worker has between 90 to 104 cases. However, this ministry has addressed the increase in cases, and I am grateful to this government that it has approved 31 new social workers in response to the crippling workload as we struggle to address the growing complexity and volume of cases coming to us. This includes international child abduction cases, trafficking cases, and migrant cases. And this has left us with over 770 children who are presently wards of the state. In 2024, we saw an increased need for foster care and adoption services. We therefore revamped our foster care manual to ensure standardized care and proper training for foster families and social workers. In addition, a new Dorothy Menzies Child Care Center was constructed and newly inaugurated in Belmopan, implemented by Belize Social Investment Fund at a cost of $3.2 million, made possible through a collaboration of the Caribbean Development Bank and the Government of Belize through the Ministry of Human Development, Family Support, and Gender Affairs. The current capacity at the old Dorothy Menzies Child Care Center is 25, but at times with a sharp increase in cases, the Belize City facility has been known to house up to 73 residents. The new facility has doubled the capacity and represents the largest investment in the region in one single project by the CDB, providing 3 buildings, 2 dormitories, and an admin building. Our roving caregivers and parenting programs expanded to multiple districts, reaching 800 children and 772 families. This program targets families with children in their most formative years while providing effective and culturally appropriate parenting strategies. We also introduced the concept of alternative preschools and mobile parenting support clinics. Through this initiative, implemented in collaboration with UNICEF, we visited rural villages to improve early childhood development and education for parents to ensure their children's healthy growth and development. This mobile support presented a scalable model for reaching the most underserved communities across the country. We implemented after-school programs to provide academic support, mental health services, and life skill development for children and youth from schools and communities across Belize City. And in 2024, we strengthened our youth diversion program. The Community Rehabilitation Department almost tripled the cases it saw from the previous year, most of them referred to us by the courts. I am proud to report, however, that of those referrals, we had a 90% success rate in reducing the recidivism. This gives our youth a second chance to complete their education, to learn a new skill, and to reduce their engagement in criminal or risky behaviors. We are grateful for the support from UNICEF and UNDP, who partnered with us to expand our child and juvenile justice programs. Our social workers spend much of their days in courts dealing with child protection, juvenile justice, or adult probation matters. Therefore, in 2024, we overhauled our social inquiry reports and trained social workers in court processes to strengthen child-centered justice. With support from the Office of the Special Envoy, we conducted training in trauma-informed practices, and with funding from UNICEF, we began to digitize the social workforce training program. In 2024, the government passed the Criminal Records Act and the Alternative Sentencing Act. Both laws aim to reduce the backlog of court cases for minor and first-time offenses, therefore freeing up the system to more efficiently manage serious criminal matters. These laws allow for the expungement of criminal records for some categories of first-time offenders and allows for alternative sentencing for minor offenses, while enhancing the monitoring of adults on probation. Mr. Speaker, true to our mission of social inclusion, our ministry prioritized the development of legislation and services for those who are most vulnerable. This includes older persons and those with disabilities. In 2024, with funds from Taiwan and SISCA, we launched an elder home care certification program. We also expanded elder care services within institutions and private homes and integrated older persons into our BOOST program. Our live-in care support to older persons promotes aging with dignity by having a caregiver provide physical, social, and even emotional support to those who need it the most. This includes end-of-life care so that older persons can live their last moments with dignity. We served 870 older clients throughout the country last year. While we advocate for older persons to remain with their families, there is still an increase in demand for residential care for older persons. In 2024, we doubled our capacity from 22 to 45 elder residents at the Golden Haven Rest Home. Still, the demand keeps growing exponentially, and we keep referring families to other residential elder care facilities across the country. Together, these facilities provide timely, high quality, and community-centered care for older persons. We also provided 100 assistive devices to older persons and persons with disabilities countrywide, and this increased their physical mobility and hearing to improve their quality of life. Through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, our ministry developed a relationship with the Disabilities Commission in Panama. This commission, called Senadis, assisted us with establishing guidelines and criteria for a disability certification program and registry for Belize. In 2024, the ministry worked with the Ministry of Health and the Belize City Council to assess homeless and displaced persons in Belize City. As a result, we moved the Good Samaritan homeless shelter to a location that better allows the increase the capacity and provide a better menu of services to homeless persons. We have also collaborated with a rehabilitation facility to assist those struggling with alcohol and drug addictions. Our services to the homeless include access to regular medical evaluations, mental health support, the acquisition of identification cards, financial literacy, and entrepreneurship opportunities for those who are able to work. In December of 2024, the government passed the Disability Act. This landmark legislation mandates us to increase access to social and economic services and to protect the rights of those with disabilities. Our ministry will continue to direct a coordinated national effort to implement the provisions of this legislation. Additionally, the government developed a new families bill that for the first time enshrines in legislation much needed support for older persons. This follows from our accession to the Inter-American Convention on Older Persons passed by the Senate in October of 2024. In 2024 to 2025 period, our ministry expanded its reach. We served 258 new clients seeking protection from gender-based violence, and this represents an increase of 83% of clients compared with the previous year. We also doubled down on efforts aimed at women's economic empowerment. Through the National Women's Commission, we extended skill and entrepreneurship training to girls and women, including survivors of gender-based violence. The National Women's Commission, with support from the Republic of China, Taiwan, and in collaboration with the Foreign Ministry and Ministry of Investment, partnered to ensure 90 women and girls benefited from the animation boot camp across Corozal, Orange Walk, and the Belize districts. That same collaboration yielded training for 90 other women and girls in vanilla production and establishing of nurseries in Bella Vista, Toledo, at Escuela Mexico in Corozal, and Belmopan, and also cell phone repair training for 30 other young women and girls in the northern districts. Thank you. The Department of Family Support and Gender Affairs assisted 70 women with support for their micro and small enterprises. We trained women in digital and financial literacy, marketing, and business development. This is helping girls to increase their marketability for jobs in the fields of science and technology and making existing women-owned businesses more formalized and profitable. The ministry also intensified its efforts at gender mainstreaming, and we heard the Honorable Minister Orlando Espat speak about that yesterday in his presentation. Sorry, Landy Habet. We developed a 2025-2028 strategic plan for gender mainstreaming across the public sector. This enabled cross-ministerial collaboration on addressing gender issues, and this supports the effective implementation of the National Gender Policy and the National Gender-Based Violence Action Plan. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Human Development, Family Support, and Gender Affairs drove forward a solid advocacy and legal reform agenda. I summarize our legislative achievements here. The first, we acceded to the Hague Convention on Child Protection. This allows for cross-border collaboration in handling child custody matters that span beyond our national borders. Two, with the National Council on Aging, we acceded to the Inter-American Convention on Older Persons and embedded protections for older persons into our draft Families Bill. Number three, with the National Commission for Families and Children, the Office of the Special Envoy for the Development of Families and Children, and the National Women's Commission, we passed legislation to end child marriage. Number four, having unwavering support from the Judiciary and the Attorney General's Ministry, we passed the Criminal Records Act and the Alternative Sentencing Act. Five, with advocacy support from the Association of Persons with Disabilities, our Disabilities Desk, and other key ministries, we passed the Disabilities Act. important one indeed. Another, with championing from the National Women's Commission, we passed the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act. On the policy front, we also drafted a first ever National Social Protection Policy and Strategy, and this initiative presents the main pillars of the government's social protection system in education, health, social security, labor, and human development. This draft amalgamates all existing programs and identifies areas where we need to make increased investments. Our policy and legislative agenda highlight our commitment to setting a new course for rights-based governance. Mr. Speaker, as you can see, our ministry did a lot with the resources with which we were entrusted. I have toured and spoken to members of staff at some of our institutions and within the ministry's departments. I can confirm to this honorable House that our successes were possible only because of the commitment, the relentless drive, and the overwhelming passion of those social workers and all the staff whose working hours regularly extend well beyond the normal 8 to 5 arrangement. For this reason, we completed an institutional reform initiative that, among other things, seeks to regularize the employment of staff and has upgraded the academic requirements and pay scales for all social workers in the Department of Human Services, the Family Support and Gender Affairs Department, and the Community Rehabilitation Department. This has brought a more level playing field for officers who are often out at nights and weekends and on holidays, responding to child protection cases, youth offenders, curfew, gender-based violence, and the many, many other emergencies of residents in our residential care facilities. I would like us all to recognize and salute all the members of the ministry, the CEO, the directors of departments, the officers, the social workers, and the staff of the institutions under our management for their deep compassion, their kindness, their commitment, and unrelenting dedication in the discharge of their duties. Mr. Speaker, this year we plan to build on this foundation, to complete our policy and legislative agenda and intensify our focus on improving service delivery. We are keenly aware that our clients need to feel the positive changes of the advocacy and reforms endorsed in the last fiscal year. Our 2025-2026 budget estimate is $25.271 million, broken down into a recurrent expenditure of $17.5 million and a Capital II expenditure of $7.774 million. This investment will enable us to sustain core activities while expanding initiatives to meet evolving national priorities. Our recurrent expenditure ensures continuity in service delivery. $11.3 million is allocated to personal emoluments, and this reflects our reliance on skilled, compassionate professionals. We will expand our social workforce by hiring more social workers to support the increased demand for services in child protection, youth diversion and rehabilitation programs, and adult probation services. We will also focus on regularizing staff who work in our 6 residential care facilities: Golden Haven Rest Home, the Good Samaritan Homeless Shelter, New Beginnings Youth Development Center, the Dorothy Menzies Child Care Center, and the 2 girls' homes. $2.2 million supports professional and other services such as trauma counseling, case management, and technical capacity building. We will attend to the needs of our clients as well as the well-being of our staff to reduce burnout and to build resilience. We will also adopt digital systems that enable greater efficiency, transparency, and accountability in service delivery. 1.36 million will go to subsidies and transfers directly assisting families in crisis. These funds are vital for the operation of critical programs such as Boost, where you will not find Minnie Mouse and Mickey Mouse and their entire family. I have to add. But it will go to programs such as Boost, public assistance, gender empowerment, and juvenile justice programs, as well as services for older persons, homeless persons, and persons with disabilities. Through recurrent expenditure, we will continue to integrate older persons and persons with disabilities into the Boost program. Our capital investments, although it was alleged we didn't have any, but our capital investments will enhance protection services for vulnerable populations while building resilience through economic empowerment in partnership with international donors, including UNICEF, UNDP, UNFPA, the World Food Program, the Caribbean Development Bank, the World Bank, and the Inter-American Development Bank. We will continue to implement transformative projects that strengthen our family case management systems to increase our responsiveness to child protection cases, as well as family support and juvenile justice matters, and to upgrade our foster care and adoption networks to increase opportunities for children to live in safe and nurturing environments, to expand elder home care programs by matching elder caregivers with families in need to support. We will also collaborate with the National Health Insurance Scheme to expand services to older clients, to ensure increased accessibility for persons with disabilities, including access to education, to health and employment services, to increase women's labor participation rates and entrepreneurship by expanding business development skills training for women, to support the expansion of early childhood daycare centers that provide caring and nurturing environments for children and support parents while they work. We are working closely with business process outsourcing, BPOs, to establish daycare centers and breastfeeding rooms for their employees, to expand services to victims of human trafficking and commercial sexual exploitation, and to intensify efforts to bring perpetrators to justice. We are also working to build institutional resilience through the digitization of cash transfer social protection programs and to develop data systems like the National Disability Registry. Finally, we will build adaptive social protection systems capable of responding to external shocks, disaster, and other crises. We will also continue our legislative and policy agenda by continuing to work on the Families Bill to ensure the expansion of family courts across the country, to enhance protections for abused children, to support parents and to support caregivers and protect the rights of older persons, to advocate for the passage of the updated Domestic Violence and Counter Trafficking in Persons Bill. These bills expand protection for victims and increase penalties for perpetrators. We will continue to advocate for the adoption of the social protection policy and strategy to ensure a more coordinated approach to poverty reduction and to social safety net programs across the public sector. And we will continue to strengthen our policies and protocols for managing unaccompanied migrant children and young adults transitioning from residential care. These investments, all of them, are designed to serve Belizeans where they are, especially in rural and underserved communities. Mr. Speaker, even with the proposed investments in our social protection programs, there are gaps to be filled. And for this reason, the Ministry of Human Development, Family Support and Gender Affairs seeks to strengthen its data collection systems and increase the visibility of our programs and services. We will engage in costing exercises, and we will strengthen our partnerships with both local and international organizations to expand our reach. We will look for opportunities to collaborate with the private sector to increase the sustainability of our initiatives. And as we increase program effectiveness, we will be better poised to advocate for budgetary increases aimed at fulfilling our expansive social mandate. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, this budget is a statement of values. A moral contract with the people that we serve. It declares vehemently that in Belize, no one should be left behind, that every child deserves protection, that every family deserves stability, and every person deserves to live with dignity. It represents this ministry's and the wider government of Belize's strategic, inclusive, and collaborative approach to uplifting Belizean society through an unwavering and an uncompromising dedication to human dignity. I urge my colleagues in this honorable House and those across the floor to join me in support of this budget, not just as an allocation of resources, but as an investment in hope, an investment in dignity and in the future of our nation. I therefore make an appeal to this honorable House to approve this budget as a declaration of our collective duty to those who depend on us the most. Together, let us build a society where every citizen has the opportunity to rise. This is our commitment under Plan Belize 2.0, and it is a testament to the comprehensive and inclusive social resilience agenda of this government. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker.
I recognize the member from Mesopotamia.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to ask for permission to refer to my notes. Good afternoon to every member on both sides of in this honorable House. Most importantly, I extend my heartfelt respect and greetings to the people of Mesopotamia constituency who have entrusted me with the responsibility to represent their voices in this chamber. To all residents of Mesopotamia, I stand here today as your voice, your advocate, and your representatives. I also extend a warm greetings to all Belizeans across this beautiful nation who are watching, listening, and hoping that this debate brings more than just speeches, that it will bring solutions and relief in the important work we are entrusted to do. Today I rise to participate in this budget debate with deep sense of responsibility towards the people of Mesopotamia and all Belizeans. Mr. Speaker, the national budget is not just about numbers. It's about guiding our country in the right direction and to bring betterment and relief for all Belizeans. And sadly, this 2025-2026 budget is moving us deeper into debt, inequality, struggles, budget cuts, and from the real needs of the people. We are here to debate the budget brought forward by this administration. And let me say clearly, this budget is putting most people under pressure. It is the largest budget in Belizean history, almost $1.8 billion. Yet it fails to deliver meaningful relief to the majority of Belizeans. This government was swept into power on a bold slogan, everybody for win. But Madam Speaker, 5 years later, the truth is clear. Only few are winning. The poor and working Belizeans are carrying the burden. Mr. Speaker, sorry. High cost of living and broken promises are the reality for most, Mr. Speaker. Let's talk about the cost of living, Mr. Speaker, which comes to spiral out of control. Since 2020, prices of basic goods, rice, beans, flour, chicken, cooking oil, have increased by more than 20%. And yes, even ramen has gone up. You have to have a special skill, Prime Minister. You have to have a special skill. Trust me, I worked 30 years for day by day and learn for cook. I cook myself too, Prime Minister. Oh yes, I brought some Singapore chow mein, curry flavor. Yes. I do everything that John said. In Belize, families have to choose between paying the bill or putting the food on the table. People take lick, Mr. Speaker. And now let's look at the housing situation. You have to give credit where it is due. Yes, the government is building a housing project outside of Belmopan. My only critique is that the starter homes are too small, and I hope that the government takes into consideration for future developments. A single room cannot accommodate a family of 4 or 5. You know how the Belizean family big, right, Mr. Jude, Mr. Smart, Minister, member of the House? Mr. Speaker, I also noticed that 7.4 million was spent 2024-2025 on low-income housing projects, page 254. How many homes did that translate to? I was looking around, and maybe the honorable member would correct me, and I stand corrected if I'm corrected. I saw 26 completed, 35 under construction, 12 pending. Mr. Speaker, I would also like to ask, what is the square footage of the low-income houses, and what is the cost per square foot to build? And while rent across the country continues to rise, this budget offers no serious allocations to address high rental costs, no plans to subsidize home improvements. The cost of construction is high because the materials costs are continuing to rise and the scarcity of skilled labor in the construction field. Mr. Speaker, this year the government plans to spend $133 million on the Cap 2 and Cap 3 on infrastructure. That's a slight drop of $151 million 2024. But let's be honest, even with the decrease, that is still a massive portion of our national resources going into capital projects. Minister, Minister, I want to say this, right? Nobody, no man, I good man, no worry. I talk to, whenever anybody on the other side speak, I am always quiet and I'm always respectful. Right? That is me. Yes, sir. So thank you very much. Thank you. I am not saying that roads don't matter. In fact, I agree with the Prime Minister. We do need proper and safe roads. We want to grow our economy and connect our communities. But here's the problem. While we are spending tens of millions building roads, many critical ministries are either stagnant or facing budget cuts in 2025. The total budget for this ministry is $157 million, with $53 million coming from Cap 3. And from this, we are seeing another $14.7 million Cap 2 and $20 million Cap 3 going into the road works from Belize City to Belmopan. It's right there. On top of the $26 million that would just pass in this House for La Democracia to Belmopan in the last House meeting. And don't forget the 53%, which equals to $28 million Belize dollars, to be determined where we will get the money, La Democracia, Belmopan. And when you work it out, you come up to about $3 million a mile. Remember, the La Democracia to Belmopan will cost $54 million total after it is finished. So, okay, so we have $54 million from La Democracia to Belmopan, and so then we have another $30.7 million that's allocated next year for Belize City to Belmopan. So I guess they don't do the La Democracia to Belmopan, so now you have the Belize City to La Democracia. Well, it says in the book like the Belmopan. But I mean, Mr. Stan corrected if it's there, but I just read. I will tell you, I had to go buy this, you know. I had to go buy this because I had to look, make sure I see the numbers are correct. Let's take a closer look at the projects, at another project, the paving of the Woodward Bay Boulevard to the Pelican Bridge roundabout. This stretch was reported to cost $2.4 million on the Cap 3. All right? Yeah, thank you. Each side is 1.4 miles total. But that, give and take, yeah. I used to walk it, so I pretty much that. Yes, man, I walked from my house to Chonsan at my exercise. I eat everything, including fried chicken. For a total, if you add up both sides, it'll be 2.8 miles, hot mixed. And maybe, you know what, when they talk about this road, not as wide as the highway, where they plan to do La Democracia to Belmopan, right? So if you add on the two of them, they're about the same size. About the same size. And we spend $2.4 million. The question is, how much money did the entire road works truly cost? Did the government pay a portion? Woodward Bay Boulevard to Pelican roundabout. Cap 3, right here. Okay? And I can take criticism anytime. If I stand corrected, I'm corrected. Thank you, sir. Was there a $2.4 million the total cost? You don't believe me? 253, page 253 to 256 in the budget book. And look at the list of roads done and planned across this country. All the day, Minister, all the day. Mr. Speaker, what is a country without its people? What is a nation without a healthy, happy, balanced, and hopeful population? Roads alone won't fix that. Yes, we want development, but the government needs to strike a balance between infrastructure and the well-being of our citizens. We urge the House to prioritize the people in 2025 budget. Let's put food on the tables, care in hospitals, and invest education and social programs. I'll continue, man. No worry. No worry. I will come tomorrow. No worry, man. I will come tomorrow and I'll wait for when you come tell me, and I stand corrected if it's not correct. Let's talk a little bit about the maritime security. Over the next 3 years, the government plans to cut funding to the maritime security under the Ministry of National Defense and Border Security. 2024-2025 revised budget is $20 million. The 2025-2026 budget is $15 million. And the 2027-2028 budget is $13 million. That's a gradual but significant decline of 35% funding over 3 years. Mr. Speaker, why are we weakening our maritime capabilities at a time when the threats to our sovereignty and national interests remain very real? Our maritime forces play a critical role protecting our marine borders and exclusive economic zones, preventing illegal fishing and drug trafficking in our waters, responding to maritime emergencies and supporting disaster relief, maintaining visible presence in disputed sensitive zones. Mr. Speaker, cutting this budget signals a step backwards in our commitment to protecting the Belizean waters, especially when our regional leaders are doing the opposite. They are investing in their maritime patrols and borders defense. National security is not seasonal. It's not something we can scale up and down like a construction project. It requires consistent investment, strategic planning, and long-term support. Mr. Speaker, I urge this government to rethink these cuts. Police cannot afford to leave its borders, especially maritime borders, exposed. The brave men and women of the Coast Guard and Defense Forces deserve more than this. They deserve the tools, the training, and support to keep our country safe. Mr. Speaker, the same troubling trend we have seen across ministries also applies to the Ministry of Defense. Make we look at the numbers. 2024-2025, $71 million revised budget. 2025-2026, $64 million. 2026-2028, 2 years, each year that's $61 million. That's a $10 million drop in just 2 years, Mr. Speaker. 14% cut to the very ministry tasked with protecting our national sovereignty and internal stability. Mr. Speaker, it continues. When we break it down further, personal emolument, which funds salaries, benefits, and operational staffing, drops from $61 million 2024-2025 to just $51 million for 3 consecutive years after that. 3. That's a $10 million cut in salary every year. While we are still asking our soldiers and personnel to do more with less, and yet we continue to spend heavily on roads, how can we defend our borders that is already porous when we are stripping the ministry of its budget? With these cuts, it's just going to be porous. It's not just going to be porous anymore. It's going to get worse. We are literally weakening our soldiers that protects our country. Yes, the word is wasara. Yes, remember it? Okay. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Home Affairs and Growth Industries is yet another critical arm of the government facing consecutive budget cuts over the next 3 years. Cuts that will have heavy real implications for our national security and social stability. Let me highlight just a few reductions. The National Police Training Academy has a revised budget of $4.25 million in 2024-2025. But going forward from 2025 through 2028, it will receive just $3 million a year. That is almost 30% cut, Mr. Speaker. How do we expect to train the professional forces with slashed funding? Community policing and crime prevention, which are foundational to public support, were allocated $72 million revised budget 2024-2025. This dropped to $67 million in 2025-2026 and $66 million 2026-2027. That's another 14% decline. A signal that crime prevention is not being prioritized. National security intelligence, a crucial pillar in combating organized crime, is also facing a 22% budget cut. Mr. Speaker, that is not just risky, it's reckless. Perhaps the most telling is the broader budgetary maneuvering. The recurrent revised expenditure for the ministry 2024-2025 stood at $119 million. In 2025-2026, it drops by $10 million. Mr. Speaker, it appears that this government is deliberately suppressing allocations to artificially present a leaner budget while neglecting the foundational responsibility of our country. Even more concerning, Mr. Speaker, is staffing members are set to increase from 2,100 to 2,400. If you don't believe me, you can check the book. Yet, personal endowments budgeted is being slashed by $12 million. Mr. Speaker, how can a government responsibly increase staffing by 300 while cutting the budget for their salaries? This defies logic. It either points to massive underfunding of new recruits or misleading the staff figures designed to distract from the real resources shortfall. We must ask ourselves, what is the point of paved roads if our cities and towns are not safe? What is the value of a shiny infrastructure if we cannot guarantee the safety and stability of the nation? Mr. Speaker, I also say, well, he just had a quote there. It says, Youth Anti-Violence Multi-Sectoral Program that gets over $4 million for the next couple of years. I had to try looking at a book, and I stand corrected what it is. I have a feeling, I think, I'm not sure, is it the LIU program? Mr. Speaker, national security should never be sacrificed for optics or convenience. We urge this House to restore meaningful investment in our national security before the consequences become irreversible. Mr. Speaker, the safety of our people is not an era where we can afford to cut corners. Belizeans deserve clarity and not creative accounting. They deserve protection, not promises with no funding behind them. Mr. Speaker, when we reviewed allocations for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Trade, Culture and Immigration, across the board, we see handsome increases. So I know the top of the one we drop and top of the one we go up to in funding, with the exception of immigration. Immigration salaries went from 7 million to 5 million. And OT, which is overtime, went from 2.1 million revised 2025-2026 to 500,000 budget estimate. I note staffing increased by 100 too. Mr. Speaker, how can you cut immigration salary and overtime when our country is highly dependent on tourism? I have seen the long snake lines at the northern border and at the International Philip Goldson Airport. How can immigration receive such a drastic reduction? Mr. Speaker, I find another line item where I probably need some clarification. It is a quote, overseas representation under ex gratia payment to staff that has 0 payments from 2022 to 2025, but from 2025 to 2028 for 3 years, and that's on page 144. But I look up the word, and I got on Google. An ex gratia payment, as defined, is a voluntary, discretionary payment made by an employer to an employee without legal or contractual obligation. It's typically a gesture of goodwill. In case of redundancy, retirement, or even the quiet resolution of an internal issue. What is the 1.5 million for the next 3 years? I just want to know that what. Mr. Speaker, another line item, where they look for and I can't find, I will stand corrected if they just tell me the what. It says insurance/others. They're on page 144. The last 2 years show that they get 1.4 and 1.3. But then 2025 to 2028, you got to $37,000. 37, yes, 37,000, not 37 million, 37,000. And then 5,800 for 2 consecutive years. I don't know that what, so I just want to know that what. Because I read about the book and I use this and I look. I don't only check when it rises, I check when there's a sun drop too. Mr. Speaker, the people of Belize deserves full transparency. Not just pretty numbers in a book, but real answers behind increases, cuts, and omissions. Mr. Speaker, I fully expect that the government side will stand up and say, that's just our estimate, we could change that. Don't let it be a technicality. If every estimate is consistently surpassed year after year, that's not budgeting. That's called under-reporting. Let's look at the facts. In 2024-2025, across multiple ministries, the actual spending exceeded the budgeted estimates. And Mr. Speaker, they're not by a couple thousand or a couple hundred thousand, they're by millions. This raises a serious question. How does the government cover the difference when actual spending outpaces the budget? There's only one answer, Mr. Speaker. We just have to go borrow more. And what does that mean for the Belizean people? Well, more debt service payment in future budgets. So yes, if the budget is once again underestimated on purpose, and if the actual spending continues to overrun, as history shows, it will require additional borrowing. Mr. Speaker, the people of Belize needs a government that is honest in its estimate, disciplined in its spending, and transparent in its borrowing. Anything less is not good governance. It's called play budgeting that puts our nation into deeper debt. You know play, right? Okay. No doubt the government side will rise and say, you on the opposition side have no moral authority. Want to do the same when you're in Medellin? And I say, yes, you are so right. Past administrations, both blue in 2008 and red 2020, have taken the ultimate shellacking from the Belizean people at the polls. They were punished for mismanagement, arrogance, and for losing touch with the people. But, Mr. Speaker, does that mean the present-day government gets a free pass to do the same? Does the past failure justify the current failure? Does historical wrongdoing give you a license to repeat it? Absolutely not. In fact, the lessons of the past should be your warning, not your excuse. If anything, the electoral backlash in 2008 and 2020 should serve as a reminder that Belizeans are watching and Belizeans will hold you all accountable. We on this side, we are the king's loyal opposition. Our duty is to critique, question, and demand better from the government. If the government continues down this road, Mr. Speaker, budget manipulation, growing debt, and misplaced priorities, then let me say this clearly. The people of Belize will not hesitate to deliver a shellacking 2030. Thank you.
I recognize the member from Cayo Central.
Good afternoon, everybody. Buenas tardes a todos. Malop King Titulaka. First of all, I thank God for His continued blessings of health and life, and for this great opportunity to be here in this Honorable House of Representatives. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, I wish to send my heartfelt gratitude to all the constituents of Cayo Central who continued believing in me and gave me the opportunity to continue serving them as the ERA representative. A big thanks to my executive who are diligent in assisting me in getting the work done. Mr. Speaker, I would not be able to perform my duties well without the support from those who are closest to me. My lovely wife, Reina, my son, Tony, and daughters, Cynthia and Jocelyn. Thank you all for saying yes when I dropped the question in continuing to serve the residents of Cayo Central. Mr. Speaker, as I rise to make my contribution to the 2025-2026 appropriation bill. Please allow me to refer to my notes, starting by thanking our Prime Minister and Cabinet for the continued support in serving and delivering to the needs of the people of our jewel, Belize. A well-renowned leader once said, "There can be no keener revelation of a society's soul than the way in which it treats its children." Nelson Mandela. Mr. Speaker, this PUP government has taken into priority our children and equipping adequately for a better future. In the first term, we as a government started free education and meals in some of our schools in the country. This year, that program continues in some more schools throughout the country. Even though most of the students of Cayo Central do not attend Sacred Heart College, I am pleased that those students who will attend the school, they will enjoy the free education at that institution. Over the last term, Mr. Speaker, and currently, the Ministry of Education continues the Rural Education Assistance Program to students from primary to tertiary education. With the support from the Ministry of Education, hundreds of students across Cayo Central have benefited from this program. I know that Plan Belize 2.0 is designed and focused around 5 pillars with education as a priority. Mr. Speaker, I want to commit our Prime Minister and Minister of Education in assuring the students of Cayo Central that free education will also be coming to the high schools in Santa Elena soon. I know Minister scratchy head, no? They deserve it just like the rest of the country. Mr. Speaker, when the previous administration had Mr. Kitar at the helm of the ship, there was one of them in Cayo who was busy executing the definition of the word Kitar. Farmland was being taken away from farmers, and residents were being surprised by new tenants showing up at their doorsteps with a land document stating that they are the new owner of the land. Mr. Speaker, this PUP government is not taking away land. We are giving land to those who rightfully need it and deserve it. With support from the minister responsible for natural resources, we were able to distribute 180 house lots to first-time landowners in Georgeville, 157 house lots to first-time landowners in Santa Elena, Mr. Speaker, land has also been identified in Cristo Rey village, where approximately 100 first-time landowners will soon receive their purchase prices. We don't stop there, Mr. Speaker. In San Antonio, another 100 first-time landowners will also be receiving purchase prices as well. Mr. Speaker, we work day and night along with the Ministry of Natural Resources. With the support from the Minister and his ministry, we will soon be subdividing a parcel of land in Buena Vista to make available approximately 200 house lots for first-time landowners in the village. You know, Mr. Speaker, in the first term, a lot of learning took place on my behalf. I did not know many things, but this second term, I have learned, and we have hit the road running. So I will not rest until I have identified and distributed house lots to first-time landowners in the other villages of Cayo Central, namely El Progreso, Selena, Santa Teresita, San Marcos, Yalbac, and La Gracia. You see, Mr. Speaker, that is the big difference between this government and the previous. They took away land. We are giving land to first-time landowners, and we will not stop till we have taken care of each of those who need it and deserve it. Mr. Speaker, many constituents who were occupying and developing farmlands and residential house lots and had not been able to obtain their land documents, some as far as 15 years ago, can now proudly show their documents in hand. Thanks to the Minister of Natural Resources and his ministry for assisting us with mobile clinics, we were able to obtain hundreds of permissions to survey, leases, purchase prices, and land titles, I would say, to thousands of constituents in Cayo Central. Mr. Speaker, I cannot stop giving credit to where it is due. Once again, thanks to the Minister of Natural Resources, I have been able to fulfill a promise I made on the campaign trail earlier this year. Within the first 100 days in the second term, I will deliver land documents to those who did not obtain them in the first term. 2 weeks ago, I was able to hand over 250 land documents, including permissions to survey, leases, purchase prices, and land titles to residents of Cayo Central with the help and the support of the Minister of Natural Resources and his ministry. A promise fulfilled. Mr. Speaker, thanks to our Prime Minister and the Minister of Housing in the first term as your representative of Cayo Central, we handed over more than 20 starter homes to many deserving single mothers and other deserving recipients in Cayo Central. Just in Cayo Central. Currently, 5 are under construction and 8 more applicants have been approved. That is what Plan Belize 2.0 is all about. It's a continuation of what we started in the first term. Mr. Speaker, there are those who have applied for starter homes but have overqualified. You know, there is a criteria for the starter homes. While the opposition criticize and say it's a matchbox, those who have received them are more than grateful for what they have received. But then there are those who are overqualified, who overmeet the criteria. They are thriving residents who are better off, with a steady income but cannot afford still to build their own home. I have news for them, Mr. Speaker. They will be able to apply for a 2 or 3 bedroom house through my office for a 2-bedroom in a housing project which will soon be implemented. So we want to work for everybody, not just for the single home, but for those who can afford for something bigger and better. Mr. Speaker, security of our residents in Cayo Central is another top priority I had in the first term in government. Lobbying with the Ministry of Home Affairs and receiving immediate assistance from the Minister of Police, we implemented a temporary police station in Santa Elena town. And that has helped tremendously with the crime. Yes, you might say, enough stop, but it has helped extensively. Mr. Speaker, but that was just temporary. Construction of a new building on a parcel of land located on the La Loma Luz Boulevard will soon commence, and it will be the home of a state-of-the-art police station in Santa Elena town. Mr. Speaker, the Father of the nation commissioned us to plant what we eat and eat what we plant. Many constituents of Cayo Central are those who are part of a group who set the table for us as Belizeans. In the past, our small farmers had been neglected over and over. Mr. Speaker, this 2025-2026 budget will help our small farmers with over $2.4 million through crop diversification, support to export programs, and financial assistance. Farmers in the productive villages of Yalbak, La Gracia, and Buena Vista had started receiving technical training and guidance and will soon become registered cooperatives, which will enable them to participate in accessing funds for continued development of their agricultural practices and production. That is what this People's United Party government is here to do, to equip those who set our tables for us. Mr. Speaker, once again, thanks to the Prime Minister and the Minister of Infrastructure, 2 new bridges will be constructed to replace dilapidated ones in the villages of Selena and San Marcos, enabling the villagers to be connected to the rest of the country, especially during the rainy season when the Iguana Creek overflows its banks. Upgrade and maintenance of farm roads will be a priority in this term to ensure that our small farmers are able to deliver fresh vegetables to the markets in the towns, which will eventually reach our tables. Mr. Speaker, in youth and sports developments, we were able to renovate lighting for football fields in Santa Elena, Cristo Rey Village, San Antonio Village, Buena Vista Village, and Georgeville Village. Plans are to replace lights at La Gracia football field with LED solar-powered lights and provide Selena Village with a brand new lighting since it has never had any lighting before. Also, Mr. Speaker, the acquisition of land for a proper football field in El Progreso Village is well underway and will soon become a reality. We believe that our youth are very key to the development of our country because they are the future leaders of our country. Mr. Speaker, I want to, with your permission, say something in the language that my mother spoke to me when she saw me for the first minute of my life. Up e malok in titulakles kawekenes taktuts atanales. Hint aik yabal just botek titu nohoch kanili tu chain yanta wea iteshe ta chaeshi yanta tani titulakles. Ibele kinwalik ke tulaklin poksik ele tanele kikbing. So I'll just translate in English. Right? I want to yeah. I just want to say a few words to those who are watching me from the comfort of your homes. I thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here, and I thank the Almighty God for giving me life to lead you in your constituency. That's what I said. I encourage all those Maya Yucatec to continue the culture and our tradition. It is, a lot of people say the Mayas of before, we are still existing. It's only that a lot of the descendants of the Mayas are ashamed to speak the language. But I want to say, I'm not ashamed of saying where and showing where I come from, because I want those who come after me to know where we are going. And that is, we are headed in the right direction with this budget appropriation for 2025-2026. Mr. Speaker, I end by saying that on behalf of the constituents of Cayo Central, I fully support this 2025-2026 budget. Thank you. Muchas gracias. Botik titulaka.
Thank you. I recognize the member for Toledo West.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon to the honorable members of this House, both on our side and the members on the other side. Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker. I want to start off by congratulating you for winning the election in Collet. That was a historic win. And I will say to you, Mr. Speaker, you retired the man will fire me, for the record. Oh, Mr. Speaker, I am comforted and motivated by the fact that the people of Toledo West once more returned me to this honorable House. Against all odds, the people of Toledo West have stood strong, they have stood tall, and they have given me the opportunity to represent them in this honorable House for the 4th term. I thank the people of Toledo West. Mr. Speaker, I am indeed honored and privileged to represent 28 villages in my constituency. And throughout the last 4.5 years, I must say that I am very grateful and thankful to the Prime Minister and all our colleagues on this side of the House, our government, for giving me the unwavering support to be able to work diligently and dedicatedly to the people of Toledo West. It has not been easy because the needs are many. And after 13 long years of neglect by the last administration, it was not easy to bring back development and to put in place the infrastructure, programs, education, health, and so many other needs that had to be addressed. But with the support of our government, I have been able to make strides, to work hard, and today, the people of Toledo West are well on their way to progress and to having a better way of life for all of them in my constituency, and I thank our government. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, I also want to take the opportunity, before I go on, with your permission, to express our deepest condolences to one of our staff members who tragically passed away last week in a traffic accident, Mr. Brian Castillo. He was an education officer stationed at our ministry, and sadly, he passed away. On behalf of myself and our ministry, and of course this honorable House, I want to extend our deepest condolences to the family. May he rest in peace. I also want to extend condolences to our district manager, Dr. Tanya Nunes, who also lost her daughter tragically to the battle of, with cancer. So again, our condolences to her family. And sadly, I also have to again express my condolences to the alcalde, the family of the alcalde of Mr. Romano Cal in Medina Bank, who on Sunday was tragically murdered. He was the alcalde of Medina Bank and a bus contractor with our ministry. So again, our deepest condolences to the family and to the community of Medina Bank. Mr. Speaker, before I go into my presentation, I just wanted to respond to a few of the comments that were made by the leader of the opposition. And maybe before I go there, I also want to join my colleagues in congratulating her on her new role as the leader of the opposition. And I know, Mr. Speaker, that the nation has been holding its breath, after she made declarations on the media about how she, wants to lead the opposition. We had hoped that she would have had the full support of her colleagues here in the House, but unfortunately, we see that her colleagues are not here. So, Madam Leader, I'm not too sure if you started on the right foot, but we wish you well. So, Mr. Speaker, the member from Mesopotamia spoke about, increasing debt and the whole issue of borrowing in relation to the budget. But Mr. Speaker, I want to remind him, lest he forgets, that it was his former leader, under whom he served as the President of the Senate, who went on record right before the election of 2020, went on record and said that after the disastrous 13 years of UDP government, that he wept for this country. He wept for whosoever was going to take over the reins of this country, because he said that they had run the ship aground and that no government was going to be able to borrow any money and to take this country forward. But Mr. Member from Mesopotamia, we proved your former leader and the UDP wrong, because our Prime Minister, the Honorable John Briceño, on this side of the House, rolled up our sleeves. We had to make some tough decisions, And we thank the public servants and teachers and everybody else who made that sacrifice. And within a year, we were able to turn around this economy and saw a steady path of economic growth and development, thanks to the People's United Party government. Tourism, agriculture, and other sectors contributed significantly to that growth. And that is why, after those disastrous 13 years, and that message of doom and gloom by Dean Barrow and the UDP, we proved them wrong, that this side of the House, this PUP government, is about work, is about development, and we have made the lives of all Belizeans better in the last 4.5 years. And that is why we went back to the Belizean people in March of this year, March the 12th. And what did the Belizean people say? They gave us a resounding yes to go back to Belmopan to continue the development under Plan Belize 2.0. So whilst, and we understand that you are the opposition and you want to paint a picture of gloom and doom with the hope that the Belizean people are going to lose trust in us. But my brothers and sisters, I am going to say to you, you have a long wait, a very long wait, especially because I don't know, this thing seems to be worse than Obia, we can't put it together at all. So, I also listened to the member from Albert, the opposition member, speak about rural roads and, you know, this government has not invested. But I'm leader of the opposition, may I remind you, and you were a part of that government, when I was in opposition from 2012 all the way to 2020, and I remember in 2017, of course, prior to that, I kept asking, you know, for the government at that time to support us with the road to San Jose and to put in place at least 3 sets of culverts. And your prime minister, your leader, rose in the house. I said, how much culverts you want? I said, 3. He said, Monday, you're going to get it done. You remember that, right? Yes, she acknowledges that she remembers that. 2017, and we went to election in 2020. There was no culvert, no road. But 4 months after we won in 2020, we delivered the first bridge. We rehabilitated the 2.5 miles road, cut down the hill. And today, that is an all-weather road that the people of San Jose are using and Santa Cruz, thanks to the People's United Party. So, you know, sometimes I wonder, how dare you forget? How dare you forget? You know, when we listen to the leader of the opposition, it appears as though this is her first time in the House. And I don't want to remind her of, because our colleagues have reminded her of some of the bad decisions that were made for this country when she was a part of that government. You remember Bolido? All the money that was lost under Bolido by who? Friends and cronies of a special family. Thanks to the People's United Party government, today we have Fuwi Bolido that is earning us millions of dollars in profits that goes directly to health, to sports, and social programs. That is the difference between a People's United Party government and that side of the House. You say why we win? And we won by how much? 83%, right? How much? 68%, resoundingly. Yeah, we are getting ambitious. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. At the end of this term, we are going to get there. Right, next time. But you see what I'm speaking about, Mr. Speaker. You remember yesterday they criticized about roads. And they spoke about, oh, the member from Mesopotamia, I think it was who said about 3 million for a mile of road. And, well, may I remind you, you carry the trophy. You carry the trophy of 8 million a mile. That's what you have done, so be careful. Farbers Road, 8 million a mile. They won the trophy on that one. But Mr. Speaker, let me get to the substance of my presentation. I want to, first of all, in relation to the Ministry of Education, I want to say that I'm grateful to the Prime Minister for having the confidence in me to ask me to serve in this very important ministry. And I am joined by the Honorable Member from Orange Walk North, who serves as the Minister of State. And together with him and our staff at the Ministry of Education, I want to take the time here this afternoon to recognize and to thank our CEO and the senior staff of our ministry and our staff across this country for all the hard work, the dedication, and the commitment that they give to education, to ensure that we can advance education and that we can build a nation of Belizeans and citizens that are going to be equipped with the necessary knowledge, skills, and attitudes to be able to become good Belizeans, to be able to become productive Belizeans, and that we will all contribute to the development of this nation. Mr. Speaker, so thank you goes out to our staff at the Ministry of Education. And allow me also very quickly to thank the staff at the former ministry where I was, the Ministry of Rural Transformation. Over the years, we developed a great team. And I really want to thank them for all their dedication and support that we received over the last years. And today, that ministry is now headed by the Honorable Member from Corozal Southeast. And I am certain that the Honorable Minister will continue to bring development to our rural areas across this country, our municipalities, and certainly ensure that our workers' rights through labor, our unions, that they are protected, and the work of working together, the tripartite partnership, continues to be strengthened. So, Mr. Speaker, with your permission, allow me to kindly refer to my notes here. Fundamentally, Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Education is committed to doing more and being more for Belize. Governance reforms, remains a priority for the Ministry of Education. A comprehensive review and revision of Belize's decade-old education legislation, regulation, and policies were initiated under the previous budget cycle with support from the Millennium Challenge Corporation's education project. This process is now in its final stage. Although the continuation of the education project under the MCC remains uncertain, this government, through the 2025-2026 MOE budget, is fully committed to allocating the necessary resources to complete this reform. Legislative reform is essential to address the evolving needs of Belize's educational landscape and to transform the system. One example demonstrating the impact of legislative reform on the education system is the amendment to the primary school leaving age, which was increased from 14 to 16 years. This reform alone has led to more students attending and completing both primary and secondary school. It has strengthened student retention, improved the secondary the transition rate, from primary to secondary education, and increase secondary school completion rates, an incredible and noteworthy outcome for Belize. For instance, the repetition rates decreased at both the primary and secondary levels. The repetition rate at the primary level has declined by almost half, from 7% to 4%, and at the primary level has declined, and at the secondary level by almost half, from 9.0% in 2021 to 4.9% in 2024. Additionally, the dropout rate at the secondary level declined by almost 2/3, from 9.6% to 3.5% during the same period. In essence, Mr. Speaker, we have our children in school. So this is a very important legislative reform that our government undertook. And I want to thank the former Minister of Education, the member from Freetown, for having the vision, the courage to work and to bring forward these legislative reforms that today are bearing fruits. So, Minister, thank you. The government will not shy away from making the necessary legislative reforms to ensure that more Belizeans have access to quality education, even if these reforms have financial implications. For over 2 decades, the mandatory school leaving age at the primary level remained at age 14. This was largely due to the financial implications that come with raising that age. However, under the 2025-26 budget, this government is fully prepared to make the necessary investments and allocate financial resources to meet the increased demands, such as expanding infrastructure, including additional classrooms, particularly at the secondary level. More teachers will also be hired to accommodate the growing number of students. Through prudent spending and data-driven decision-making, this government continues to do more for our Belizean children. Changing the way we finance education has led to more enrollment. The Education Upliftment Project, Together We Rise, a signature program of this administration, eliminates financial barriers for families across the country. The targeted allocation of funds for secondary school students in all districts demonstrates this administration's strong commitment to expanding access to quality education. At its launch in the 2022-2023 academic year, the program supported 947 students across 4 secondary schools in Southside Belize City. This is where we started this program. And from all the data, it was evident that there was a positive impact created by this program. And that is why, Mr. Speaker, the government side prudent to expand this program across the country. In the 2025-26 fiscal period, the Education Upliftment Project will expand to 23 secondary schools, reaching over 12,000 students, an increase of more than 11,000 beneficiaries. Let me repeat that. A very important increase to 12,000 students. This is significant, Mr. Speaker. For the current fiscal period, 95% of students enrolled in government secondary schools nationwide will attend school for free. Altogether, more than half of all secondary school students in Belize will benefit from free education, offering significant financial relief to over 8,000 families. Each year, the EOP cater for the large number of students who are now seeking an opportunity to enroll in our schools. The 2025-2026 budget will cater for an additional 2,000 students beneficiaries from 2 secondary schools, namely Independence High School, and I'm happy to report that we have now expanded it to Cayo, to Sacred Heart College. All of these schools are now benefiting from the EOP program. 7 in the Belize district, 4 in the Cayo district, 2 in the Corozal district, 2 in the Orange Walk district, 4 in the Stun Creek district, and 4 in the Toledo district. So this is significant, Mr. Speaker. As I said, making a total combined number of schools that are going to benefit from this program. And if you're wondering who benefits from this program, the answer is simple. 100% of the students who attend these schools, they are the beneficiaries. The schools follow a recruitment process, and this responsible government covers its cost. And just to remind you all, this program covers tuition, a meal, transportation where needed, devices where possible, and school uniform. So my friends, there is no reason why our students should not be in school. And that is why our parents who are benefiting and the students who are benefiting from this program are very grateful. Because gone are the days where parents had to be worried, I don't know where I will find the money to pay tuition. Or how am I going to buy uniform? How am I going to, give my child money to eat for lunch? Those are days of the past. This PUP government is investing in our young people to transform this nation. We are not squandering the money on Pibil, Tacos, and turquoise waters in Corozal. We are investing the money in our children of this country. You see the difference between this side and that side? They talk, we work. They talk, we deliver. Very important, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, and you can rest assured that this government is making the necessary plans to expand this benefit to all secondary schools in the future. So we are working on that. Because I know that other schools and parents across this country are asking, when are we going to benefit? We will continue to expand this program. This government will invest $10+ million in students attending the EOP institutions to cover the expenses associated with this initiative. And this is not including the feeding program. That is separate. So $10 million just on this very important and proactive initiative, Mr. Speaker. Access to transportation means more access to schools and increased equity. The Ministry of Education regulates and funds school transportation to ensure that students and teachers, particularly those living beyond a 3-mile radius from the nearest school in rural or remote areas, or in locations where limited public transport can attend school regularly, getting students safely to school reduces absenteeism and provides all students with equal opportunities to learn. And I will give you an example. I am very grateful to the Honorable Minister, the former Minister of Education, the member from Freetown. I remember 2 years ago, I approached him and I said, Minister, I need your help in providing school transportation for primary school students in San Pedro, Colombia. These students are actually walking almost 2 miles every day from one end and the other end. And true to his word, the minister delivered. And today, those students and their parents, when they need to go to school, can catch a bus and ride safely to school. The 2024-25 budget supported a total of 246 bus runs, benefiting approximately 13,000 students across Belize. Over the 5 years, the number of bus runs has steadily increased in response to the rising demand, reflecting the ministry's commitment to removing barriers to school attendance and meeting the growing transportation needs of students. This budget that we are now debating, Mr. Speaker, will further improve existing bus routes and expand school transportation services to accommodate even more students. This service costs the government over $1 million a month. So in essence, we're spending almost $12 million on school transportation. In simple terms, as the need arises, the ministry delivers. And this 2025-26 budget is no exception to the rule. We will continue to support our students and parents across this country. The 2024-25 budget focused on increasing access and quality at all levels of education. Last year, the Ministry of Education provided $14,488,828 in grants, scholarships, and financial assistance to support students pursuing education locally, regionally, or internationally. This is, of course, in addition to the funds provided to the EOP schools. And I will tell you, in just my 2 months that I have been at the ministry, Mr. Speaker, it's amazing to see the amount of files that keep coming to my desk, you know, from our colleagues here in the House, from principals and teachers, and just from parents who walk into our district education centers seeking support. And I want to tell you that, and I am certain that the former Minister of Education, knowing him, readily supported all the requests that came in. And I am also open and supportive of those parents and students who seek education assistance, because the only way we are going to eliminate poverty, the only way we are going to build strong human capacity, the only way we are going to build a strong, educated society and citizenry is through education, Mr. Speaker. And that is why this government places significant importance and priority to education, thus allotting the necessary resources to help our students across this country. Yes, Minister. And I want to share with you, because we are putting in place the checks and balances. It is not only about spending the people's resources, but we must ensure that there is accountability and transparency in the allocation of educational resources. The ministry will very soon officially launch the Financial Assistance Submission and Tracking FAST platform in the 2025-2026 fiscal year. This budget reaffirms the government's commitment to sustaining this investment in the nation's students, aimed at strengthening Belize's workforce, advancing skills development to meet industry and labor demands, fostering economic growth, reducing unemployment, and promoting entrepreneurship. This government, Mr. Speaker, is about delivering to the people. This platform will help the ministry to effectively monitor and account for public funds granted to students across all levels of the education system. The ministry provides financial assistance, as I said earlier, to students from preschool to higher education, including those attending foreign universities. In addition to providing financial support to students, Mr. Speaker, the ministry also supports educational institutions in Belize through infrastructure, development grants, and the payment of teacher and support staff salaries. This financial year, we are providing direct benefits for students in the education system as follows. We are supporting over 6,662 preschool students, 59,602 primary school students, over 22,693 secondary school students, over 785 TVET trainers, over 9,819 tertiary level students, and over 863 adult and continuing education students. This is significant, Mr. Speaker. This is development. This is progress for Belize. The government of Belize owns and fully funds 51 preschools, 59 primary schools, 20 secondary schools, 5 ITVET institutes, and 2 junior colleges. However, financial support is extended to 633 schools across all levels of the education system, covering over 5,000 teachers who are paid through public funds. And on the matter of teachers, I want to say and I want to reiterate that this Ministry of Education and our government fully supports, respects, and appreciates and values the great work of our teachers across this country. We know that our teachers are important partners in development and in education. For it is only through education, Mr. Speaker, that we can truly develop this nation. And that is why we value our teachers. And I want to say that I support, as the Minister of Education, fully support the presentation made by our Deputy Prime Minister in terms of the proposal that we have made to our teachers and public servants. Rest assured that we understand the very important duty of our teachers and public servants. And we will continue to endeavor to work with our teachers and public servants in good faith, so that together we can arrive at some meaningful consensus on how we can move forward, understanding that as a government, we have a responsibility to the good of the wider nation. But we also have a responsibility to them for the great work that they do. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that our government, as always, has acted in good faith. And I want to reiterate, I think I had it in my presentation somewhere, but I remembered it now and I will speak to it. Proposal 22. Proposal 22. 13 years of UDP government. Talk and talk and talkos. Did not deliver anything on Proposal 22 to the teachers. It took a People's United Party government in less than 4 years to deliver on Proposal 22, where all our grant-aided schools are now, our teachers are now able to receive 100% of their retirement benefits. That is significant. So, Madam Leader of the Opposition, may I remind you, because you are saying, oh, you don't care about the teachers, and all of a sudden you become an advocate that the teachers must be paid. You had an opportunity in your government, and you did not deliver to the teachers. You did not deliver to the teachers. Thank you. 10 million a year. But they could have squandered 500, 600 million of Petro-Carib funds, but did not find the funds to pay our teachers. But you know what? That is why we are on this side of the House. Because we have acted in good faith, and we will continue to act in good faith and to support our teachers and public servants. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Education has made significant strides in enhancing the quality of support and services offered to students with special education needs across Belize. We are becoming more inclusive. And I want to thank the member from Corozal Bay, the minister, who spoke extensively this morning on the disability bill and you know, the great impact that bill seeks to make for our citizens who live with certain challenges. And together with the Ministry of Education and other ministries, we will work together to ensure that we make education more inclusive for all our Belizean students. With the 2024-2025 budget, diagnostic screeners were developed and 280 children were assessed through the therapeutic preschool pilot program. Direct support services at Celamaris were expanded to include occupational, speech, and behavioral therapy, along with financial support for infrastructure development to foster a more inclusive learning environment. A new database was created to track high-need students requiring paraprofessional support. Professional development efforts focus on regional upskilling sessions, individualized education planning, and early intervention training. The Ministry of Education also led national observances such as World Down Syndrome Day and Autism Awareness Month, participated in multiple health fairs and conferences, advocating for inclusion and connected families to essential services. The 2025-2026 budget will continue to support the ongoing initiatives and will champion inclusion by maximizing the implementation of the disability bill. This effort will ensure equitable access to quality education in the most conducive environment for children with diverse needs. The direct impact of these initiatives has led to an increase in the number of students with diverse special needs attending school, with a focus on integrating them into the regular school system. The hiring of paraprofessionals to support students with learning or physical needs has contributed to a rise in the number of these students graduating both from primary and secondary school. All children matter, Mr. Speaker. Let me repeat that. All children matter. And the Ministry of Education is fully committed to making education work for children with diverse learning needs. Education cannot happen without our teachers. This new budget includes more benefits for our teachers. The government and the Ministry of Education remain committed to making the teaching profession attractive by ensuring that all service benefits and incentives continue to be provided to our teachers. Mr. Speaker, government through the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology assumed the full responsibility for the payment of 100% of salaries and service benefits for over 900 teachers and 175 support staff of all government-aided secondary and tertiary level institutions. This move fulfills a request made by educators more than a decade ago and has increased the wage bill by approximately, as was said earlier, to $14 million more. In addition to this $14 million, the 2025-26 budget reaffirms our government's dedication to education by pledging to award at least 22 scholarships per cohort for in-service teachers pursuing studies in high-priority areas such as English language, mathematics, science, and technology. Of these 22, 11 applications may be submitted to the ministry through the BNTU and 11 through the managing authorities. The ministry is also committed to providing financial assistance to 50 pre-service teachers preparing for a career in education. To address persistent teacher shortages in rural and remote areas, the ministry is allocating funds to offer additional incentives, such as housing allowance or annual bonus, to complement the existing rural hardship allowance. And there is more, Mr. Speaker. In addition to the provisions mentioned earlier, teachers are eligible to apply for study leave with special consideration given by the ministry in areas of national priorities. Teachers are also able to apply for financial support when pursuing studies aimed at enhancing the quality of their teaching. So, Mr. Speaker, in winding up the section on education, because I need to go to my constituency now, I want to say, Mr. Speaker, that we have achieved a lot. We have achieved a lot. And we will continue to work hard. I want to take special time to recognize and to thank our development partners in education, because we have many development partners, both locally, regionally, and internationally, who support the work of the Ministry of Education. We look forward to a continued collaboration, working together to ensure that we can transform education for all Belizeans. So, Mr. Speaker, on that note, I want to thank my colleague, the member from Orange Walk North, who also spoke. He also spoke about, several of the other programs that have been achieved. And very quickly, let me just share this very quickly with you. Just some quick facts. Mr. Speaker, it is important to note that we have over 283 schools representing 7,800 students, 4,500 teachers who are now benefiting from the high-speed internet program. This is significant. I also want to share that we have developed a digital platform for teachers called the 501 Historian chatbot, now assisting our teachers in developing lesson plans and making learning more relevant and motivational for our students. We are in the process, Mr. Speaker, of finalizing a new TVET Act. And this is very important because we want to strengthen the governance and sustainability of VOTEC education in Belize. We have completed the implementation of the curriculum reform, and all schools are fully on board, and the implementation is in full swing. And we hope that we can, in the next few years, we are going to be able to measure the significant impact of this new curriculum reform, Mr. Speaker. We are also very happy to say that very soon we are going to launch a new Belize school and food nutrition policy that is going to govern our Healthy Start programs across the school. So all in all, Mr. Speaker, the future is bright. And together, under the leadership of our Prime Minister, the Right Honorable John Briceño, and this government, we will continue to build Belize. We will continue to transform education that will work for all Belizeans. Mr. Speaker, with your permission, I now want to very quickly just go to my constituency. Over the last fiscal year, we saw significant development done in my area. Thanks to our Prime Minister and our government for providing us with the Constituency Development Fund and support from various ministries, we saw works very quickly. San Vicente. In San Vicente, we had the completion of the rural water sanitation project, the fencing of that project, the installation of solar panels and pump for a water system. We saw the rehabilitation of roads and streets, and we are currently engaged in the preliminary stage of the EU solar project to commence very soon. In Halakte, the rehabilitation of roads and streets, we are also in the preliminary stage of the EU solar project to commence very soon for electrification. And I am happy to say that after drilling scores of wells in the Halakte area, we could not find water, but God is great. And last week, we found a very successful source producing over 106 gallons of water per minute that can sustain a water system for Halakte, and we are going to work on that, to deliver on that very soon. In Pueblo Viejo, we started training for young women, female entrepreneurs in sewing through the Taiwanese Women Empowerment Program. Again, I want to thank the ambassador and the government and people of Taiwan for their unwavering support. In San Jose, we installed a new solar system to ensure that there is sustainable energy source. This new system cost over $200,000, and we are grateful to UNICEF for their wonderful support and collaboration together with the Ministry of Rural Transformation. We saw the donation of water meters to San Jose, a chlorinating machine, and other materials to expand water. In Santa Elena, we open up new streets. They still have to be rocked. So I will be knocking on Prime Minister's door to continue to help us, to support us, so that we can rock those streets in Santa Elena. And Santa Elena is the last village in my constituency, out of 28 villages, that still does not have a water system. We are going to go there very soon to drill, and I'm very optimistic. We are going to find water, and we will be able to build a new water system for Santa Elena. Santa Cruz, we saw the donation of materials, pipes for the expansion of water. We saw the repairs to roads. In Mafriday, we saw the groundbreaking ceremony for a $1.5 million water system that is about to commence construction with support from SIF and the CDB. In Blue Creek, the connection of a new production well, a new pump house, expansion of electrical lines for the water system, donation of water meters, donation of pipes, major repairs to roads and streets. In Jordan, the rehabilitation of our community center, donation of pipes and other materials for water expansion. Mabilha, this one is very dear to me because it's a very remote community. But I will say to you, that is the difference with our government. It doesn't matter how remote you are. We are all Belizeans. And what is good for our good people in Corozal is also good for our good people in Mabilha. And that is why government through SIF and the CDB invested over $1 million in a new water system. And that is about to be inaugurated very soon, thanks to our People's United Party government. Mr. Speaker, in Emery Grove, we saw the drilling of a new production well and the construction of a new mini rudimentary water system. San Pedro, Colombia, the drilling of a new production well and connecting it to the existing water system. Significant work was done on the building of new streets, new farmers' roads, and we continue the work there. San Benito Poite, we have the preliminary stage for the EU solar electrification project. So very soon we are going to electrify San Benito Poite, the rehabilitation of their center, donation of water meters and pipes to the water board. Santa Teresa, donation of water meters, rehabilitation of their community center. And I'm happy to say that through the CDF, we are rehabilitating Santa Teresa completed, Aguacate completed, Criquehute about to be completed. Complete rehabilitation of their community centers. Finally, in Medina Bank, we saw the construction of a mini rudimentary water system. We also saw electricity, telephone, and new streets being developed. So, Mr. Speaker, significant work continues to happen in Toledo West. What is in the pipeline? What is in the pipeline? For the people of San Jose and Santa Cruz, I am happy to say that through Rural Resilient Belize, finally, after much discussion and engagement with the community, San Jose is going to see 2.5 miles of road from the Halacte Highway into San Jose, either paved or completely cemented in the next 3 months. Work is going to begin. We are going to see the construction of 2 new bridges in that area and a new farmers road to the Green Creek Farmers Cooperative. So, my friends, only under our PUP government, only under our PUP government, Dean Barrow promised me in 2017, 3 culverts, could not get it. We don't get 3 culverts. We built new bridge. We will cement or pave 2.5 miles road. We will build 2 new bridges, and we are going to deliver a new farmers road to the Green Creek Farmers Cooperative. And on culverts, it would be remiss for me not to recognize my honorable friend and colleague from Cayo South. And I'll tell you, he has delivered never before in terms of culverts. I tell you, culverts can't done. We have seen, no, honestly, and on a serious note, I want to thank the Honorable Minister for all the support. And I know sometimes maybe get a little tired of hearing me the knock on us, no? But he has been supportive through his ministry. I mean, we have seen culverts installed in communities, in farmers' roads, like never before, man. Like Sandy. So, I am very grateful. I am thankful, Minister. And that is the spirit. It is in the spirit of collaboration and working together that we build a better Belize. And I want to end on this note. Thank you to all our colleagues on this side of the house. We all work hard, we work together, and we have one mission and one goal: to build a better Belize for all. We're all Belizeans. We'll have an equal opportunity, to to bring development and prosperity to their families, to their communities, to Belize. So my friends, with God's help, with God's guidance, I fully support and endorse the draft estimates for 2025-2026. God bless Belize. I thank you.
I now recognize the member for Belize Rural South.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon. Mr. Speaker, Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, our colleagues, and of course I'd like to acknowledge on a new role there, Honourable Member from Albert, on your new role as a leader of the opposition. Congratulations. It's historic, and we're here present to witness, so congratulations. And of course, most importantly, Mr. Speaker, is to the wonderful people, the resilient and vibrant people of Belize Rural South, namely Ambergis, Key, and Key-Carker. Mr. Speaker, today I rise in support of the budget for 2025-2026, and also with immense pride to present the work also that we have done in the Ministry of Blue Economy and Marine Conservation, inclusive, of course, of our disaster risk management mandate for fiscal year 2024-2025. But first, Mr. Speaker, if you allow, I beg your indulgence, if I can just reach out and allow me to say a couple words as it relates to Belize Rural South, the beautiful people of Belize Rural South. I stand here today with a heart full of gratitude and humility. I wish to extend my sincerest thanks to the people of Belize Rural South for their overwhelming support for my re-election. Winning all 19 boxes once again, it's not just a victory. It is a sign of my mandate and responsibility. And for that, I am deeply humbled. And I pledge to continue doing the work to meet the needs of our communities. Mr. Speaker, Belize Rural South, of course, plays a major role and is part of the Northern Caucus. I want to acknowledge here the Madam Chair of Northern Caucus, very active caucus of 9 constituencies. And I must mention, as because of the elections, I pause to kind of look back and say, you know, that I've spent more than half of my life residing in San Pedro. So, and with the mandate I've given, with the overwhelming victory, I think sometimes that to say that I'm a born Orangeaqueño, but right now I'm a San Pedrano by choice. Right. So, it's special, and I'm humbled and to accept and to work for the people of Belize Rural South, and it means a lot. I must stress it, Mr. Speaker. So, we have made, of course, significant strides over the past year, and the 2025-26 budget reflects our people's shared priorities for sustainable development, economic growth, and infrastructure all over Belize, not only Belize Rural South, meaning also for San Pedro and Key-Carker, and of course the rest of Belize Rural South, but of course across the country. And recognize the significant contributions of our area. Allow me to outline just a few of the ways in which Belize Rural South is prioritized by this administration, this Plan Belize, this People's United Party government. We cannot go without mentioning national health insurance that has officially been launched for both San Pedro and Key-Carker, ensuring better access to healthcare services for our people. And of course, let's not forget that we are well on our way with our $30 million San Pedro Hospital project that remains on track to be fully completed, hopefully, if all goes well, by the end of 2026, which is a transformative investment in healthcare for our islands. Mr. Speaker, as well, I must mention, very, very important as well, is free secondary education is now a reality for 725 students at San Pedro High School. And come 2026, we will be extending that same opportunity to the 175 students at Ocean Academy in Key-Carker. Mr. Speaker, at the same time, I want to actually ask and beg your indulgence to recognize the former Minister Fonseca, who was the former Minister of Education, for the great work he did, especially for San Pedro and Key-Carker, and acknowledging the Minister of Education here now, Honorable Member, Honorable Rikena. Thank you so much, and we're looking forward to continue doing the work here as we chart forward with education in Belize Rural South. Mr. Speaker, as well, I must mention the road infrastructure that continues across both islands with key works in Bahia, Puesta del Sol, and Kikaker, and of course San Pedro Tong and North Ambergris, reflecting our commitment to infrastructure and accessibility and for all residents and those who visit our beautiful islands. Mr. Speaker, this is all, of course, in collaboration with not only me as the area rep, but also our government, and of course the Village Council and the San Pedro Town Council as well. So this year, we have also proudly launched the San Pedro, very important as well here, Mr. Speaker, this is something historic, that we also proudly launched the San Pedro Ambergris Key Strategic Development Plan 2024-2029. This is a bold roadmap to bring critical infrastructure like water, electricity, sewer systems, roads, and housing to the northern part of Ambergris Key. We're also excited to also announce the development of, included in this plan as well, Mr. Speaker, is the new international airport that we're planning with a runway of possibly 8,000 feet that will be capable of accommodating larger aircrafts, enhancing connectivity and economic opportunities for our islands. Mr. Speaker, I must extend sincere thanks to Minister Anthony Mala, the Minister of Tourism, for his continued support in Belize Rural South. Through his efforts and BTB and his ministry, the San Pedro Artisanal Market is nearly complete, and now there is a plan also which is ambitious and is already in this, and he has announced it, and that there is a plan that we are already in collaboration with the Town Council to transform the legendary Sacachispas field with a $2 million multi-purpose sports and events complex. This, Mr. Speaker, we anticipate its completion by summer 2026, if I can get the colleague there to confirm by the end, by mid-summer 2026, Mr. Speaker, just in time to host the music festival and future sporting events for our youth. I want to thank you and call you out on that one there. Thank you. Thank you very much, Minister. So that is going to be a game changer for San Pedro as well, for not other events, equipped as well for basketball, for volleyball, for concerts as such. So it is going to be very much a game changer since San Pedro and Kikaka, we have the rooms, we have in terms of as it relates to tourism for all the events. Very much excited as being part of another project that is very ambitious by next year. Mr. Speaker, as well, I want to personally thank our Deputy Prime Minister, our DPN, the member from Lake Cayo, for his instrumental support also. And this I want to highlight again in securing a historical land acquisition of as much of 700 parcels in North Ambergris Key to be distributed to first-time landowners, Mr. Speaker. This is a monumental step in empowering families and future generations on Ambergris Key. Mr. Speaker, with your permission also, I just want to say a couple of words in Spanish as it relates to, very important to Belize Rural South when it comes to the amnesty and our people there who have benefited tremendously from this government as it relates to the amnesty that occurred. Quiero dirigirme la palabra a nuestros hermanos y hermanas de habla hispana. Lo importante que hemos hecho con este gobierno de recibir a nuestros hermanos de todo Centroamérica y todo Latinoamérica y el Caribe también, de recibirlos con las manos abiertas en referencia a lo que es la gente que está aquí trabajando con nosotros y están documentados. Con el programa de la amnistía ha sido un mucho éxito, incluso hace 2 semanas se pasó en el cabinet que también los otros 800 o so, lo que son los miembros, aquellos que aplicaron y no calificaron, ahora ha cambiado la póliza de que si aplicaste y estás en 2019 también calificas. Eso significa que aquí estamos dando la oportunidad de que ustedes se formalicen y que contribuyan a lo que es la economía de este país. Y sé que eso mucho afecta lo que es en San Pedro y Quicaca, porque hay mucha gente ahí que trabajan y contribuyen, se han integrado, tienen familias, beliceños, y es importante que este es el gobierno del Partido Unido del Pueblo, Plan Belize. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, on that one there, that you give me that you get. Todos ganamos, indeed, todos ganamos. Mr. Speaker, again, if you allow me to please refer to my notes as it relates to what we have accomplished in the Ministry of Blue Economy and Marine Conservation. And by extension, last year I did, and again, thanks to our Prime Minister that he gave me the confidence to serve also with the Ministry of Disaster Risk Management. Again, this year, our ministry continued to deliver on a promise of sustainable, inclusive, and climate-resilient development through bold reforms, strategic partnerships, community investment, and evidence-based leadership. We're not just the blue economy. We are not just merely managing marine and coastal resources. We are shaping Belize's future prosperity by protecting the very ecosystems that underpin our economy, culture, and national identity. So, Mr. Speaker, here, if I may, the accomplishments for the year 2024-25. So we start up with the blue economy leadership and institutional strengthening. Mr. Speaker, Belize became the first Caribbean nation to ratify the BBNJ agreement, which is the marine biodiversity beyond national jurisdiction, which aims, this agreement aims to protect marine biodiversity not only in our waters and beyond our high seas, but indeed beyond our jurisdiction. And that's important. We have also drafted Belize's first blue economy bill, which lays the legislative foundation for long-term, sustainable ocean-based economic growth. We have secured over US $40 million in financing for ocean governance and coastal resilience. We have also secured $7 million from IDB loan to support sustainable fisheries and marine livelihoods. Another US $32.23 million for the Blue Cities and Beyond. This is the World Bank project, strengthening water security, coastal infrastructure, and climate resilience, particularly for the cities of Belize City, PG, Punta Gorda, and as well as San Pedro, as it relates to wastewater management treatment, both in San Pedro and Belize City. So a lot of work there to be done, and we're doing already, Mr. Speaker. In marine conservation and spatial governance, through the Belize Blue Bond Agreement, expanded marine protected areas, we have expanded the marine protected areas to 25.05 Belize waters, and we are on track to achieve the global target of 30% of the total ocean space protected by 2026. We are well in advance of 2030. We continue as well the development of the Belize Sustainable Ocean Plan, which is the BSOP, a data-driven, stakeholder-informed marine spatial plan to guide sustainable ocean development. We have also launched, Mr. Speaker, we have launched the Belize Ocean Account Pilot Project to quantify the true ecological and economic value of marine ecosystems. And of course, Mr. Speaker, in the fisheries sector sustainability, the fisheries sector reported Belize $36 million in export earnings, supporting some 3,700 licensed fishers and as much as 20,000 Belizeans. We have developed new regulations, of course, for stone crab and sea cucumber, and also continue to promote seaweed mariculture, especially by women-led cooperatives. Through the Fisheries Department as well and different partners, Mr. Speaker, we have conducted over 5,700 marine patrols, enhanced by drones and smart technologies, and reviewed 26 environmental impact assessment, EIAs, helping to balance development with artisanal fisheries protection. In climate resilience and disaster risk management, back then, Mr. Speaker, when I was last year as the Minister of Disaster Risk Management, we responded, it was an extraordinary year last year. We responded to several fires, not only in the south, in the Mountain Pine Ridge area. There was a severe drought, and at the same time also after the drought came deluge of lots of rains and floods. and of course with the many threats of different tropical storms. It was an incredible year 2024, Mr. Speaker. And I want to thank everyone. In collaboration, we work together, and of course in the disaster risk management, we had the NEMO, we had the fire service, we had the med service. They all came together as one to work together and responding to all the different assaults that we had on our country in 2024. With that said, Mr. Speaker, I cannot continue to go on to acknowledge the former Minister Habet, who was there as disaster risk management, that did the great work, and I came in and continued to work with a great team there. And as well, I have every confidence that Minister Henry Charles Usher, a member from Port George, will continue to do that great work in carrying the noble work that these people do behind the scenes, Mr. Speaker. So we want to call it out as well to acknowledge them as well. Mr. Speaker, of course, in 2024 and 2025, it goes without the challenges. Again, I continue in terms of, as it relates to the blue space, we continue to have problems with the sargassum influxes. We continue to have damage in the coastal ecosystems, disrupting tourism and threatening public health. Forecasting and regional actions are underway. That is important. Again, climate adaptation, we got to be resilient. Again, also another major concern that we have right now, Mr. Speaker, is coral bleaching. And that has surged due to record sea surface temperatures, which is a sobering sign of climate change's local impacts. Over the last 2 years, all waters have experienced record-breaking temperatures, which have resulted in unprecedented bleaching and mortality on our reefs. Furthermore, the challenge that we face as well, Mr. Speaker, is there continues to be a rising infraction, and then of course intervention, rising infractions in undersized conchs and lobster harvesting. We continue to have that challenge here. But again, Mr. Speaker, we're highlighting that we need to continue doing the work for stronger fisher education and enforcement. That is also a commitment that we have, and it's a challenge, but we continue to do that work there. Balancing development and conservation remain a complex but critical task, especially, Mr. Speaker, and I want to mention that in sensitive artisanal fishing and fly fishing zones. This year, we've seen the advocacy and concern by the fly fishing and the conservation communities with developments in Cayo Rosario, Wilbar Flats, and more recently, Sandfly Key, regarding the safeguarding of key ecosystems like mangroves and seagrass, which support their livelihoods and provide other broader ecosystem services. Mr. Speaker, I am obliged to mention these that we cannot shy away as it relates to the Ministry of the Blue Economy. And I want to take a time out to award to these partners and the stakeholders that we as a government, we from the Ministry of the Blue Economy and Marine Conservation, we are hearing you. We're listening. We must work together. That is the message. We have to work together. We're in this together. Not only the stakeholders, but the government of the day, the government that we serve right now, the investors as well as also that the blue economy calls for, that we must harmonize and put it together and working together. And we must lead. We must lead, Mr. Speaker, including the Department of Course Environment and all the relevant departments that are involved here in terms of developing what is the blue economy, the blue space, very important. And many learning lessons here, Mr. Speaker, as we move forward, because we have doing the work and looking at other different investments that may come up ahead, that we do it the right way. Consultation is the name of the game that we want to do. Mr. Speaker, again, the 2025-2026 budget, we continue to invest in your future, in the blue space. So this year, the budget builds on our momentum and aims to deliver deeper, more transformative outcomes. As it relates to combating climate change, we must expand implementation of the National Adaptation Plan for Coastal and Fisheries Sector. We must scale up the National Seagrass Management Policy to preserve blue carbon sinks. And again, responding to sargassum, we must strengthen forecasting with the Met Service. We must pilot eco-innovative solutions for harvesting, reuse, and management. I'd like to highlight as well and commend the good people of Holchan that we are right now currently using 2 harvesters that is working right now. But of course, the issue with sargassum, Mr. Speaker, this year it is terrible. We see it in the news, and obviously that the 2 harvesters we're using is just part of this ongoing battle that we fight on with sargassum. It is indeed not only a national problem, it is a regional problem that we must work together. So again, it is important that we all come together in fighting this plague that is plaguing us right now. Finally, we must finalize, revise fisheries resources regulation and mariculture guidelines. We must complete also the new conch and lobster stock assessments and update the harvest strategies and management plan. We must expand the artisanal fishing loan program, unlocking finance and training. And of course, the rolling out of the illegal and unreported and unregulated plan of action. This is a plan of action with the National Fisheries Enforcement Strategy. Mr. Speaker, I want to also go back again and mention with the San Pedro Strategic Plan. We launched the San Pedro and Burgess Key Strategic Development Plan 2024-29, which is Northern Burgess, yes, the Northern Burgess Strategic Development Plan, the 2024-2029, which is a landmark community-rooted vision for one of Belize's fastest growing island communities. This plan, Mr. Speaker, plans to integrate the blue economy principles at a local level, aligning economic opportunity with environmental protection and social upliftment. It includes the coastal infrastructure investment, which is ecosystem protection and the wastewater management. It also includes education and training for youth and small enterprises, and clearing zoning, which is important to protect mangroves, reefs, and fly fishing habitats while supporting growth. San Pedro reflects what can be achieved when planning, people, and sustainability come together. In closing, Mr. Speaker, the ocean is Belize's greatest natural asset. The work of my ministry, it is not just about protection. It is about prosperity. It is about preparedness. It is about national identity. This budget, Mr. Speaker, is not an expense. It is not an expense. It is an investment in a safer, stronger, and bluer Belize. One where our youth are empowered, our communities must be resilient, and our oceans continue to provide for generations to come. As a representative of Belize Rural South, and on behalf of the people of Belize Rural South, Mr. Speaker, I commend this budget to this honorable House and to the Belizean people we proudly serve. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I now recognize the member for Port Loyola.
Good afternoon, everyone. Mr. Speaker, first allow me to express many thanks to the wonderful people of Port Loyola. Yes, let me begin. Mr. Speaker, first allow me to express sincere thanks to the wonderful people of Port Loyola for giving me the opportunity to serve as the air representative for the division for a second term in this honorable House. Mr. Speaker, in making my contribution to the budget, the draft estimates of revenue and expenditure for fiscal year 2025-26, I ask your permission to refer to my notes. Mr. Speaker, this is the first budget in the second term of a PUP government led by Prime Minister Briceño. Mr. Speaker, lest anyone forget, this budget presentation is only possible because in the general elections on March 12 this year, Belizeans showed great appreciation for the many things done for the people and country in the first term of a government led by Prime Minister Briceño by giving the party a massive 26-5 victory with 68% of the votes. Mr. Speaker, that huge election victory was possible because Plan Belize is working for the Belizean people. Mr. Speaker, in reflecting on the results of the general election on March 12th, could the record indicate that I was re-elected as the area representative for Port Layola by over 1,000 votes, which was over 200 votes more than when I was first elected as the area representative for the division in 2020. Mr. Speaker, could the record also indicate that in the general election on March 12th, I was victorious in all 11 boxes throughout the Port Layola division by more than 3-1. Mr. Speaker, to truly appreciate the work of the first administration led by Prime Minister Briceño, and to assure all Belizeans that this new government will continue the work of making life better for all the people in its second term, it is important to use some key things in comparing the state of the country when PUP was elected to office in November 2020 with the state of the nation at the end of its first term on March 31st this year. Mr. Speaker, despite over $600 million from Petro-Caribbean, over $400 million from oil production, over $500 million from new loans, and despite being in government for 13 years, more Belizeans were in poverty when the UDP was voted out of office in November 2020 than when the Barrow administration was first elected to office in 2008. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, 4.5 years after November 2020, without the benefit of millions from Petro-Caribbean, oil, and a heap of new loans, with proper management of the resources of the country and careful spending on people-centered projects by this PUP government, the rate of poverty in the country has dropped by 10% from 36% in 2020 to less than 26% by March 2024. Mr. Speaker, that is evidence of Plan Belize at work for the citizens of this country. Mr. Speaker, after 13 budgets from 2008 to 2020, land which put the people in a better position to build their homes and access financing to improve their lives and determine their own destiny was out of the reach of ordinary Belizeans. Mr. Speaker, while the UDP was in government for 13 long years, then Prime Minister Briceño rightly described the Lands Department as a hotbed of corruption. Mr. Speaker, the description was fitting. During those dark days, ministers and their cronies gobbled up large tracts of prime government land for themselves and milked the national treasury mercilessly. Mr. Speaker, while Belizeans pay $500 for a house lot, under the UDP, John Greedy Boots was sold 2 acres of prime government land at Belizean Beach in Belize City for a pittance of $1,000. Mr. Speaker, 2 acres of land is equivalent to 10 house lots. Therefore, for that prime property at Belizean Beach, John Greedy Boots should have paid a minimum of $10,000 to the Ministry of Lands instead of a measly $1,000. Mr. Speaker, as outrageous as that giveaway of prime government land to UDP land shark was, all is not lost. Mr. Speaker, all is not lost in that crooked giveaway of prime government land to UDP cronies because just as how this PUP government took back Fui Bolido from UDP hustlers for the benefit of the people, this administration will do everything possible to take back that 2 acres of land at Belizean Beach from corrupt John Greedy Boots for the Belizean people. Mr. Speaker, while the hotbed of corruption was in full swing at the Lands Department under the UDP, Vega and Pitts were paid $400,000 each in a sweetheart deal as compensation for land which the then UDP government sold to them for $15,000 each, knowing fully well that other persons had absolute title for both properties. Madam Speaker, I'm happy to say that with John Briceño as Prime Minister of this country for 4.5 years, the Lands Department is no longer a hotbed of corruption, but a department that has enabled over 25,000 Belizeans to become first-time landowners across the country. Madam Speaker, the remainder of today could be spent providing evidence that John Briceño and his government have done exceedingly well with Plan Belize for Belizeans in its first term, and is therefore the best party to lead the country for many more terms. I, however, will conclude this comparison between the past and present administration with housing and the minimum wage. Mr. Speaker, during the UDP's 13 years in office, the housing situation for ordinary Belizeans was unbearable, with absolutely no relief from the Ministry of Housing. During those dark years, $8 million was allocated in the budget for housing yearly. However, the Ministry of Housing did not build a single house. Instead of building houses for the needy, the funds were squandered on large housing grants for well-to-do UDP cronies and payment of monthly salaries to hundreds of ghost employees who were advised to vote for UDP candidates at election time, but never did any work for the government for even a single day. Mr. Speaker, there was also a massive hustle with funds for housing for the people when a certain UDP minister was given thousands of dollars to build houses for his constituency. Mr. Speaker, that was like putting the rat to guard the cheese. The then minister, who is now a self-appointed building contractor for John Greedy Boots at Belizean Beach, charged the government the exorbitant price of $45,000 each for weak plysim houses without partition, electrical wiring, bathroom facilities, or ceiling, when one of those shell houses cost no more than $25,000 at the time. Madam Speaker, the corruption with housing for the people was even worse. The ex-minister, now the self-appointed contractor, had one Mr. Lam sign government contracts to build dozens of houses for the people, although Mr. Lam admitted that he doesn't even know to use a hammer. Mr. Speaker, in completing the hustle with funds for housing, Mr. Lam later collected $45,000 for each phantom house, fake house, and turned the funds over to his boss, who rewarded him with a little $50 for each big collection. Mr. Speaker, the last UDP administration was also responsible for the $8 million overpriced Farbers Road. Mr. Speaker, the UDP owed the Belizean people an apology for 13 years of massive corruption with funds allocated for roads, land, and housing for the people in each of its yearly budget. Mr. Speaker, it is amazing how the fortunes of the Belizean people have drastically changed over the last 4.5 years with the administration led by Prime Minister Briceño. With Honorable John Briceño as Prime Minister and Honorable Julius Espat as Minister of Infrastructure Development and Housing, at the end of his first term, this government has delivered over 300 starter homes to deserving families across the country. And Mr. Speaker, the good thing about those starter homes is that they are designed with a plan that facilitates addition of another bedroom, and each owner is only required to pay the manageable fee of $25 weekly or $100 per month to own his or her home after 10 years. Mr. Speaker, over the last 4.5 years, MIDH has also assisted hundreds of families in every district with home improvement grants. Mr. Speaker, the success of the housing policy of this administration is further proof that Plan Belize is working for the ordinary men and women of this country. Mr. Speaker, two of the greatest successes of the budgets of this administration over the last 4.5 years are with employment and the minimum wage. Mr. Speaker, realizing that any government has to deal with less social problems when the people can find good-paying jobs in a wide range of fields to care for their families, this administration increased the minimum wage from the starvation wage of $3.30 per hour to the living wage of $5 per hour in 2023, and introduced policies and programs that promote local and foreign investment as never before. Consequently, those wise decisions have resulted in thousands of new jobs throughout the country. Mr. Speaker, the days when hundreds of persons, including high school graduates, couldn't find employment is a thing of the past. As a result of this administration's proactive approach to economic development, 97 out of every 100 Belizeans who seek jobs are gainfully employed. That is verified with figures from the Belize Statistical Office, which show that unemployment in the country has decreased from a high of 13.7% under the UDP in 2020 to a record low of less than 3% today. Mr. Speaker, that again is further proof that Plan Belize is working for the people. Mr. Speaker, the draft estimates of revenue and expenditure for fiscal year 2025-2026 is filled with data, policies, and programs which give Belizeans the confidence that they can look forward to another fiscal year of stability, improvement in their standard of living, more opportunities to pursue their dreams in life, and better communities. Mr. Speaker, in this fiscal year, $336 million is allocated in Capital 2 for the upgrading of road infrastructure. That is a necessary investment to make the Sartaneja Road and sections of both the George Price Highway and the Philip Golson Highway safer. Significant improvement of those three roads will definitely reduce the number of traffic accidents and save many lives. Mr. Speaker, additionally, $4 million from Capital 2 will be used to purchase specialized road equipment, and $30 million will be used for the maintenance of roads, streets, and drains across the country. $22 million for land acquisition payments and surveys to make thousands of lots available for more people will also be drawn from Capital 2, as well as funds for the expansion of NHI and the constituency development programs, among other things, to ensure a better quality of life for the Belizean people. Mr. Speaker, in further promotion of quality health care for the Belizean people, I'm happy to state that the budget for fiscal year 2025-26 include $9.5 million for construction of a first-class hospital in San Pedro Town, with funds provided by our good friend Taiwan, as well as $6 million for a tertiary hospital in Belmopan with funding from Saudi Arabia. Mr. Speaker, construction of those two important hospitals is further proof that while the UDP is known for broken promises, under the leadership of Prime Minister Briceño and this government, it is delivering on its promise of better health care for all Belizeans. Mr. Speaker, turning to the Port Loyola division which I represent, I'm happy to report that during the first term of this administration, grocery bags were delivered to the most needy persons on every street. Thanks to former Minister of Education, Francis Fonseca, scores of students from primary school to university were able to pursue a better education as a result of education grants from his ministry at the time. Mr. Speaker, thanks to Honorable Julius Espat, Minister of Infrastructure Development and Housing, 11 deserving single mothers and their families are the proud owners of starter homes that has significantly improved their standard of living. Mr. Speaker, with the starter homes, families also have more funds for better education, starting a small business, or pursuing other dreams. That's because while those families only need to pay $25 weekly or $100 per month to own their new homes in 10 years, a number of those same families were paying $125 weekly or $500 per month to rent houses they could never own and had to vacate once they could not meet the weekly or monthly obligation. Madam Speaker, again, thanks to Prime Minister Briceño and Honorable Julius Espat, Minister of Infrastructure, starter homes are a huge plus in providing deserving Belizeans with homes they can be proud of. We therefore look forward to the delivery of 5 more starter homes for the residents of Port Loyola at Blackberry Estate shortly, and many more of those homes for the division in the second term of this administration. Mr. Speaker, I have also assisted scores of residents of my division with home improvement grants. Mr. Speaker, they say land is gold, a very precious commodity that opens up many opportunities for a better life once it is in your hands. I'm proof of that because I was only able to escape living with my family in a tiny beaver-board house which leaked like sieve whenever it rained, after I was given a piece of land in Belize City by the then Minister of Lands, Florencio Marin Sr. Mr. Speaker, thanks to myself and Deputy PM Cordell Hyde, who is also the Minister of Natural Resources, over 700 residents of Port Loyola have become first-time landowners. And many of those persons have seized the opportunity to build their own homes or are in the process of developing their land for family upliftment and other benefits. In empowering the people with land, I also held a land clinic in Port Loyola, which enabled scores of residents to receive land documents that had been pending for months and years. Mr. Speaker, most people prefer gainful employment in the private sector or the public sector to care for their loved ones. Nevertheless, scores of residents of Port Loyola are hardworking entrepreneurs, persons who offer a wide range of service in the community and providing meaningful employment in their neighborhoods. Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to mention that in promoting that entrepreneurial spirit in the division, I have assisted scores of small businesses, including food vendors, barbers, grocers, mechanics, and land keepers with small business grants, which have enabled them to better serve the community. Mr. Speaker, the residents of Port Loyola fully support the efforts of the government to develop the Port of Belize for bulk cargo and cruise tourism, fully aware that the implementation of the project will bring untold benefits to their community and the country at large. Mr. Speaker, in assisting in making Port Loyola a better constituency, I have also built a football field and completely rebuilt the basketball court and bleachers at the Genosha area of the division. I have also provided lights at the basketball courts in the area and promoted constructive entertainment in the community by holding numerous tournaments with very attractive prizes. Mr. Speaker, progress in any community is severely restricted without proper streets. Therefore, in making Port Loyola a more welcoming community, I have paved Carl Thompson Street, Freedom Street, Genosha Boulevard, and concreted Neil Spin Road, T Street, Nurse White Street, and Baldwin Drive, as well as a large portion of Cesar Ridge from Central American Boulevard to Reggae Street. I have also built 2 new streets in Arlington Drive and upgraded most of the other streets in the division. Mr. Speaker, a lot has been done to make Port Loyola a better community for all its residents and the wider Belize City and the country. Over the years, however, a lot more could have been done to make the division more attractive and welcoming to new residents and visitors if it wasn't treated as a forgotten division. Mr. Speaker, it is an open secret that Port Loyola is the poorest division in Belize City. A prominent person in political circles made that point publicly in saying that the former area representative for the division should be ashamed for enriching himself with large tracts of land while he did absolutely nothing to afford the people of the area a better standard of living. Mr. Speaker, residents of Port Loyola are not asking for pity from anyone. For the record, residents of the division are intelligent, hardworking, and law-abiding Belizeans who look forward to a better life for their families and a prosperous division and country they can all be proud of. Mr. Speaker, the truth is that Port Loyola has been the most marginalized division in Belize City for decades, up to November 20th, when PUP was elected to office under the leadership of Prime Minister Briceño. Mr. Speaker, that sad state of affairs existed even prior to independence, because for decades and decades, most of the time, the movers and shakers in government made the deliberate, cruel, and selfish decision to spend millions of dollars in the yearly budget to upgrade the infrastructure such as streets, drainage, sporting facilities, and lots, as well as access to water and electricity in other areas of Belize City and the country, while spending the bare minimum in Port Loyola to keep the residents quiet. Mr. Speaker, Coretta Scott King, wife of slain civil rights leader Martin Luther King, best describes that injustice to our people when she said, open quote, "Freedom, justice, and prosperity cannot be parceled out in pieces to suit political convenience. I don't believe you can stand for freedom and prosperity for one group of people and deny it to others," end of quote. Mr. Speaker, given the very unfair treatment that has been meted out to the residents of Port Loyola for almost half a century, after successive year representatives for the division gave their full support to the budget up to the end of the previous administration in 2020, I'm happy to say that despite pushback from certain actors in the society, from the first day in office in November 20th, Prime Minister Briceño and his government have been committed to correcting the injustice that has severely hampered continuous development in the Port Loyola division and some other parts of the country. Mr. Speaker, in understanding the challenges to progress in Port Loyola, I would like the record to state that Prime Minister Briceño is the only Prime Minister of this country who has taken the time to visit the division, to meet the people, and see the hope in their faces for a better life which all Belizeans deserve. Mr. Speaker, today, in order to make Port Loyola more on par with development in many other divisions in Belize City and the wider country, I'm asking the members of this honorable House to take a major step in putting an end to the long cycle of underdevelopment in the division by supporting my call not for $100 million, not for $50 million, not even for $20 million, but for $10 million for infrastructural development in the area out of the budget of $1.7 billion for this fiscal year. Mr. Speaker, $10 million for infrastructural development in Port Loyola out of this year's budget is a pittance compared to what has been spent yearly from budgets prior to 2020 to make many constituencies in Belize City and across the country shine with development. Mr. Speaker, $10 million for infrastructural development in Port Loyola is a reasonable request to answer the cry of the residents for paving Louis Bevan Street and Ariel Hall Street, and to concrete Arlington Drive and Cedar Ridge Road from Reggae Street to the Yaba Bridge. Mr. Speaker, those funds would also be used to chip and seal 2 new streets in Arlington Drive that are muddy and almost unusable in the rainy season. Mr. Speaker, $10 million for infrastructure development in Port Loyola would also address the cries of the residents for new roads in Janosha, Penn Road Extension and Farbers Road Extension area of the division to enable the people to develop their land. Mr. Speaker, a blessing of $10 million for Port Loyola in this year's budget will end the terrible suffering of over 50 families with children in a portion of Arlington Drive who suffer when their homes and yards are covered with over a foot of very unsanitary water for more than 2 months in the rainy season every year due to a lack of proper drainage to allow excess water in the lower area of the community to flow to the dike or the sea nearby. Mr. Speaker, if the financial amount requested for the Port Loyola division is approved, Honorable Julius Espat, the Minister of MIDH, will be able to use those funds, the funds from that allocation, to assist me in solving the major problem of flooding in a section of Arlington Drive. Mr. Speaker, a portion of the funds requested for Port Loyola in this year's budget could also be used to repair or rebuild the back building of St. John's Vianney Primary School to make it safe for the teachers and students. B, upgrade the basketball court on Penn Road. C, fill the playing areas in the division. And D, provide the Janosha basketball area with a proper bathroom, which will also be useful to the police officers who are posted at the court to enhance citizen security. Additionally, Mr. Speaker, the special funds requested for Port Loyola in this budget could also be used to hold another land clinic and to solve the land issue in Penn Road Extension, which would enable the residents to have a proper road and proper access to water and electricity. Mr. Speaker, as indicated, the needs to enable the residents of Port Loyola to enjoy development more on par with that of most of the other divisions in Belize City and the wider country are numerous and requires at least $10 million as a starter. Nevertheless, in using the language of the street, on behalf of the residents of the division, I say to Prime Minister Briceño and the government, we will work with any reasonable amount of funds Nevertheless, in using the language of the street, on behalf of the residents of the division, I say to Prime Minister Briceño and the government, we will work with any reasonable amount of funds that give the residents of Port Loyola added confidence that this government is truly committed to making life better for all Belizeans. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the residents of Port Loyola, I fully support this budget. Thank you.
Honorable members, I think we're ending a little early today. This meeting is now suspended and shall resume tomorrow at 9 a.m. Members, I respectfully remind you that we want to start on time tomorrow at 9 so we can again end early, so please be seated by 9 a.m.
Mr. Speaker, can I just make an appeal? I see so far only 2 or 3 members of the opposition. It would be good if there are 2 members can attend so you could have a full complement of the 31 members of the House. I noticed 2 of them have been missing yesterday and today, so I wish they can come. No? Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member from Orange Walk Central. This meeting is now suspended. Thank you, everyone.